Yo, what's going on, guys? Happy Monday, man. I know everyone's doing much better than Jaime Munguia, so it can't be that bad. Look, man, when you're getting knocked out by a dude with 4 knockouts, it lets me know a couple of things, or it lets me question a couple of things. One, you're chinny, and we can't really call Jaime Munguia chinny, right? But when you're getting knocked out by a dude with 15% knockouts percentage, man, that's not really a good look. And if you're not chinny, it lets me know that you are also losing focus and possibly, and this might be, you can possibly say that you're shot, okay? Because there's no such thing as this guy named Bruno. All right, there's only one Bruno that I know. And those usually what white people name their Chihuahua dogs. Hey, yo, come here, Bruno. Come here, Bruno. Or that one movie with Sacha Baron, like Borat. He's got a movie called Bruno. You know what I mean? So for Jaime to get knocked out by a dude named Bruno, that lets me know you're done, bro. That lets me know you're done. That lets me know that you should have never left Freddie Roach. That lets me know you should have never left Golden Boy and go over to fight at Top Rank and all of these things, because Top Rank, they had a plan for Jaime Munguia. And it was actually a really good plan, but it involved a lot of undefeated fighters. First, you come over across the pond and fight our boy Eric Bazinian, right? Then when you come out and fight Eric Bazinian, you come out and knock out this dude, Bruno Surace, right? After you knock out Bruno Surace, then you're supposed to fight Christian and Billy. If all goes well, Jaime, you probably got yourself in the talks back into a Canelo rematch, a David Benavides, right? Maybe move up to 175 and try to fight Artur Beterbiev or whatever the case may be. That's if you get through Christian and Billy and all. So the stakes are looking really good for Jaime Munguia, crossing over and fighting on Top Rank platform. You knock out Eric Bazinian, you get Bruno, and you get to Christian and Billy. But none of that happened because you couldn't knock out Bruno. Bro, a guy with 4 knockouts in his career, 5 now, knocked you out. Now, salute to you, Vince. Happy Monday to you, brother. Yeah, bro, he got knocked out by Bruno Mars. I could not believe that, man. I could believe, no, I can't. I could believe that Jaime would lose. This is an undefeated fighter. Maybe this guy's got some good-ass boxing skills. But for this guy to be the one to knock out Jaime Munguia, that's shocking to me. When Eric Bazinian couldn't do it. Now, don't get me wrong. This dude, Bruno, he was a big-ass kid. Motherfucker's like 6'10". He's got fucking Deontay Wilder arm length. But come on, Jaime. Bro. Now, let's make no mistake about it. Jaime Munguia, this dude is no fucking legend. This guy is not undisputed, unified. This dude has always had a mediocre career, right? Jaime Munguia, but he's a fan favorite. If we look back during his time at 154, he beat Saddam Ali. When he beat Saddam Ali, it was under the context of Saddam Ali beating Miguel Cotto. But that was some great acting job by Miguel Cotto, all right? He basically knew that, I'm going to take you guys down memory lane, okay? Miguel Cotto was a champion. I forgot exactly who had he beaten at 154. Then Saddam Ali beats Miguel Cotto. But if you look at that fight, Miguel Cotto appeared to be shot. He made himself look like it. Every punch that Saddam Ali would punch, Miguel Cotto was like wobbling and galloping, like if he was extremely hurt and stunned. I believe that Miguel Cotto put on a hell of an acting performance, and it pains me to say that because Miguel Cotto is, él no es vendido. He's never sold out, right? So he's a man of honor and principle. But against Saddam Ali, I believe Golden Boy told him, look, bro, I'm going to show you the ins and outs of how to be a boxing promoter, and we're going to establish these ties. But I need you to make Saddam Ali a champion because I need to build Jaime Munguia up. And Cotto was like, bet, I understand that principle. Let's get it happening. So Miguel Cotto took a dive against Saddam Ali to make Jaime Munguia champion at 154. That's what I believe that happened in that situation. But if you look at every single thing in Jaime Munguia's career at 160, this dude was struggling with the Jimmy Kellys of the world, right? He was getting blasted left and right, and then eventually gets the knockout. Well, it makes no surprise when he gets the Canelo fight, he didn't really earn it. He's barely progressing and getting better under Freddie Roach, right? Because he looks like shit with Eric Morales. Eric Morales is not a good trainer, guys. Not a good trainer. He is not good. He's not a good trainer. He was a very good fighter, but sometimes just because, you know, you can perform and act doesn't mean that you can be an acting coach. He's a great fighter. Doesn't mean he can give you proper instructions to be a great boxing coach. Eric Morales, Jaime, alejate, way. Go back to Freddie Roach. Okay? Go back to Freddie Roach. Go back to Golden Boy. See, they understood that you suck, bro. Okay? I love you, Jaime, but you suck. That's why Golden Boy always fed you guys like Saram Ali, Jimmy Kelly, and all of these other vatos, bro, because they know that you suck. With Top Rank, they're gonna feed you to the wolves. Top Rank don't fuck around, dude. Okay? Golden Boy will protect you like they're protecting William Zepeda against Shakur Stevenson. Because when Tevin Farmer dropped Zepeda, as low and brittle-handed Shakur Stevenson is, because Shakur Stevenson ain't no knockout artist, but he'll knock the fuck out of William Zepeda. And that's just the fancy of it. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, Jaime is no good, bro. He's no good. And there's a reason why Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, always fed you all of these weak-ass fighters. So he can build you up for a moment. And if you rise up to the moment, you can become a superstar. That moment was against Canelo Alvarez. And, bro, after 3 rounds, you were garbage. So, again, Jaime is not that good. He was progressing under Freddie Roach. He was getting better because he was regressing badly. And it was just only a matter of time until somebody knocked his ass out. I just didn't know it would be Bruno. It was Bruno, bro. Bruno Mars, bro. Like, no fucking way, dude. Anyway, man, it's a damn shame what Jaime Munguia has been. Let me go back one fight. Shout out to my boy, Jorge Maravillo, bro. Dude. Yo, Vince. Jorge had a fight on Saturday or Friday. He was being trained by Freddie Roach, Jorge the Kid in Blue. And he fought to a draw, man. I didn't get to watch it, but, you know, some people say, I didn't get to watch it, but just reading by the comments and looking at the highlights, Jorge didn't look to be using his height and reach. Jorge's a tall kid, Vince. He's like 6'1", 5'11", 6'1", and stuff like that. And ever since he's been training with Ruben Villa out of Salinas, they've implemented the jab. Jorge likes to fight. In fact, he's a heavy hitter. I was, you know, when I was really young and even a little young, just like Jorge, I got to train with him. And, bro, when he would hit mitts and the bag, thudding power. You know what I mean? I was a booger weight. I was like 126, 130. And Jorge Maravillo, bro, I've never heard anybody punch and hit as hard as him. You know what I mean? In person. You know, I've seen heavyweights go to the gym. I've seen these big guys hit the gym. And I had good pop. But Jorge had different pop. And ever since he was a kid. So anyway, so we went to the Ruben Villa gym. Jorge was establishing footwork and jab and learning IQ, being a student of the game. For this camp, I don't know, because if he's with Tom Loeffler, Triple G's promoter, you know, maybe Tom Loeffler has connections down south, and he got Jorge Maravillo to team up with Freddie Roach and spar at the Wild Card gym. So this camp was at the Wild Card gym down in Los Angeles, and Jorge was supposed to win by flying, probably by a knockout, bro. And he fought to a draw. Some people in the comments were saying, like, man, it was only a draw because he has political connections with Freddie Roach. I don't know. By any chance, Vince, if you're still here, brother, did you manage to watch that fight? And I believe it's on the UFC Fight Pass. I don't necessarily have that application, but I was just kind of curious if any of you guys have seen it. I'm waiting for Speed and Drew to hop in. In fact, they're already here. But yeah, man. Actually, let me highlight that comment, Vince. Wait, I did. So yeah, hey yo, Speed 1 2 3, mic check, brother. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother, loud and clear.
Yeah, man. Some Man, uh, I'm definitely uh I'm definitely not tech savvy, bro. I just think I just logged out of my oh goodness, my YouTube account. And I don't know how to log back in, so I don't know if I'm gonna be using my account anytime soon. But yeah, yeah. Anyways, I'll figure it out. How you been, man? How you been?
Man, I hate when people ask me that question. Everybody's been asking me, man, how you been? How you been? And Monday. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a very good weekend, but it could have been grand, bro. My guy, I could have won with $4, $26,000.
Whoa.
And I could have won off $7, 3 grand. I
Mhm.
did this crazy parlay, $4, but I chose all the week's picks and I got one wrong. Heartbreaker, man. And it was the Miami Dolphins versus the Houston. Now I know the Houston Texans are overall the better team. I
Mhm.
just knew that it was going to be a close game, and maybe Tyreek Hill and the running back, a chain, can pop off because they're very fast. That
Mhm.
was not the case. They ended up losing by 8. Heartbreaker. That one was for the 29,000. $4. I was still able to make 10, turn $10 into 247, but I could have made, you know, pretty much a whole year's worth of salary in just a couple of hours. But I wasn't good enough, man. That's just the reality.
28,000. That's all you're making, bro. And times are tough. But $28,000 is a
You know,
year's salary, man.
but in one day, bro. You know what I'm saying? Look, all I'm saying is that's what could have happened. So I'm having a good weekend. It could have been much more amazinger. Amazinger. It could have been much
Amazing.
more. Yeah, amazing. Nah, but it was good, man. It was a really
It
good weekend. Yeah,
was a
the
great
weekend was
weekend.
fantastic. It could have been epic. And
Could have been epic,
by
yeah.
any chance, bro, before we get to Jaime Munguia, did you watch Alexis Rocha versus Raul Curiel?
Yeah, I got to watch it. Missed I think 3 rounds. But yeah, I got to watch everything. And to tell you the truth, it was a very hard fight for me to judge, for me to score. Really, it was like every round seemed to be the same, right?
Yeah.
Um,
No, the
let's just
judges
wrote.
got it right. That shit was a draw.
In my opinion, that was exactly the definition of a draw.
It was
Both
a
guys
great
do good
fight.
work. Yeah, both guys do good work. Both guys display their skill set, their bob and weave, their block, catch and shoot, their jab. They did everything right. They didn't always land, but that's because the other guy, he had an answer for that, and then the other guy would throw something and at the end of the day, if you look at both of their demeanors, both of their faces, they look the same, right? A lot of action,
What do you mean
good.
they look the same?
Yeah, they weren't beat up.
Like they're
They weren't
prepaid?
beat up. Yeah, they weren't beat up. You can tell that they went to war, but they weren't destroyed. Not like Joaquin Buckley destroyed Kobe Covington. Not that kind of beatdown, right? It was well, you knew these two guys had a fight, but both of them looked pretty much the same, pretty much an indication that it was an equal fight, right? Um, it's one of those fights that if you look at these two dudes in the face, you're not gonna say this guy lost this fight because this guy, is more beat up than the other. It wasn't that kind of fight, in my opinion. At least maybe later on, at the end of the fight, post fight or whatever, maybe more damage started to show on one guy's face over the other. But in my opinion, what I saw and in the physical demeanor of both of these individuals, they both looked as if they were in an equally matched fight where none was better than the other. And at the end, when both of them had their arms raised in a draw, they didn't have much to say about each other. They didn't have anything bad to say about the other guy. Both of them acknowledged they were tough fights. Both of them acknowledged that they could have done a little more to make them more convincing, but they were not discontent with the fact that they had a draw. And I love that, right?
You think they
Because
became best friends after the fight? Because did you watch the build-up?
I saw some, but not all of it. Why? What was going on there?
So DAZN and Golden Boy, they promoted like a sit down between Alexis Rocha and Raul Curiel.
That I
And
didn't see.
bro, I thought Raul Curiel was like Mexicano, straight from Mexico. And both of them are LA cats. And long story short,
Both of them are from LA.
yeah, I thought Curiel, he was like full fledged, but nah, man, they
Yeah,
both spoke really great English. And
yeah.
when they were sitting down, there was animosity, bro. Like that type of animosity where it's like, the Mexican G, the guy's a sureño, the other's a norteño, and they're like, bro, you took my girl, like all this shit. Because, dude, like they had this straight, like, hawk eye vision, bro. And Raul Curiel and Alexis Rocha were just mad talking shit to one another.
Yeah.
You gotta watch it, bro. It was like true animosity, and when they fought, that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what you saw. They kept just fighting back and forth. Everything was earned. You know what I mean? Nothing was like, oh, just hit me here. It was like, vamos culero. You know what I mean? Like, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, it was a great fight. You don't really see real fights like that. And I was very happy that the judges saw what the whole public saw, a very close competitive bout that could have gone either way. But I'm glad that it was a draw because I would love to see it again. Alexis Rocha versus Raul Curiel. Good ass fight, bro. So good.
So, okay, me and my, I guess before anything, I'd just like to wish a good even fall to Mr. Vince Vargas, good even fall to the Mexican G. I hope you gentlemen have been well of health and sane of mind, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed the past 2 weeks of boxing. Incredible events. In fact, so much transpired in the past 2 weeks, it was overwhelming. There was, if you wanted to sit in the couch all day and just marathon boxing, you could have done that. You could have woken up at 8 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, Pacific time, and you could have watched fights from London, Ukraine, Australia, the U.S., all parts of everywhere, right? And it was really, really overwhelming. I had a
There was
busy
only a
weekend.
couple of fights, bro. It wasn't that overwhelming, bro.
No, there was yesterday. There was fights between Ebenezer Tete and Dylan White. There was like at least four fights there in that card. Some of them were pretty fun. Then you
Now,
had boxer, the Natasha Jonas fight.
if
Were
you're
also
Mexican, all you saw was Alexis Rocha Curiel and Jaime Munguia. You didn't check in for Derek Chisora, bro.
no, I
Come
got
on,
to.
man.
In fact, the funny thing is, I didn't get to watch much of Jaime Munguia, right? Because
You didn't see the first 3 rounds.
yeah, I didn't get to see the first 3 rounds of that one. I didn't get to see the first 3 rounds of, or maybe the middle rounds of Curiel versus Rocha. I got to see a lot of the undercard fights. I got to see a lot of the undercard fights from the MMA event. There was so much boxing and so much mixed martial arts that I got to watch over the weekend. There was just, I'm telling you, it was overwhelming, and I
But how
still
could
had to
you
be
be
a father.
overwhelmed if you missed so much fights, bro? Just because there's a lot on TV doesn't mean that you're sitting down and watching it. It's a
No, well,
competition.
I'm not. I'm also carrying my phone though. When I'm driving, I'm driving. You know how you guys like to drink and drive. I like to drink and watch boxing. I mean, not drink. I like to drive and watch boxing. Right? Um,
Drive, man.
we went to Denny's because I wanted to take out the family to dinner, and unfortunately, the whole city of Marina, the whole city of Seaside, and part of Monterey. If you guys are from the Central Coast, or you have been here, you know those cities. They were completely blacked out. There was some kind of a windstorm, along with some tornadoes around here and rain that just toppled a bunch of electrical wires, and these adjacent cities to Salinas, they just went blacked out like for a day and a half. We didn't know nothing about it because we didn't lose our power over here. We didn't lose our juice over here in Salinas, right? So we decided to just drive into the fancy schmancy towns to get dinner. And unfortunately, almost everything was closed because they hadn't had juice for a day and a half. So we ended up at Denny's, and here's my wife eating her, what was it, like fajita or something like that. My kids were eating their pancakes at 11 o'clock at night. I was watching boxing. I was watching Jaime Munguia get
Hey,
destroyed
hey,
by probably the biggest underdog in the world. I can't think of a bigger fight than that. Like that guy,
Steve,
Brunel.
hold
What
on,
is
hold on,
it?
hold on. Do you know who Derek Chauvin is?
Yeah, the guy who choked out that black man.
Yeah, so the Mexican G salute to you, bro. He goes, to be honest, I'm surprised Munguia made it as far as he did. He's a very flawed fighter. And he
Yeah.
follows it up with, some girl recently slapped me for saying the following line. Is your name Derek Chauvin? Because you take my breath away. My
Oh
guy, dude.
goodness,
You're a fucking
that's
asshole.
some dark humor. Don't interrupt me for that. Don't interrupt me for
Oh,
that. You
come
could
on,
have waited.
man.
You could have waited. You're trying to say that a man cannot become overwhelmed by how many boxing offerings there are. I'm telling you, there
You
was
can't.
so
You're
much.
not watching them, bro. It's like
What are you
saying,
talking about? What are you saying? I'm not watching them.
you
I
said
uploaded videos. What's wrong with you?
hold on. You said that you were out and about taking your family here and
Uh-huh.
here. You ran
Uh-huh.
into a lot of inclement weather,
Uh-huh.
up here in the um in Santa Cruz. There was a tornado,
Central Coast,
the
not
Central
Santa
Coast,
Cruz.
Seaside and Marina. There was power outages,
Um,
and then just make
and I was driving and watching the fights.
it's like saying, "Yo, bro, I'm stuffed. Yo, bro, what you eat?" I mean, I haven't ate nothing. It's just I'm overwhelmed by all of this abundance of food, like McDonald's and Wendy's, and I can't choose anything. But how are you full? How you stuffed? You haven't ate nothing. Oh, because I can't make up my mind, bro. Like, what do
Look,
you?
bro, why don't you just admit that I'm a bigger boxing fan, a bigger boxing consumer than yourself, and just keep it at that? Just because like to play video games and buy Pokemon cards doesn't mean I'm doing the same thing. I'm watching boxing. But anyways, um, you know, obviously you're probably wanting to talk about Jaime Mugia, right? Um,
We want to talk about Bruno Surace, bro. Like,
Brunello.
who is this guy? Why does he get the gift of knocking out Jaime Munguia, man? Look,
It's not a
Jaime
gift.
Munguia has fought in. How many good fighters do you think that he's fought in?
Like 10, 20.
Okay, so Jaime Munguia, just a little recap. He has 46 total fights. Okay, so he's fought in Sergey Derenchenko. Remember, that was an amazing fight. Jaime
Yeah.
lost the fight. Then he fought
I thought
John
he
Ryder.
won by one round.
Munguia couldn't knock out John Ryder. Jaime Munguia knocks out John Ryder, right?
Mhm.
So he couldn't, like, he struggled versus Gabriel Rosado. I don't know if you remember that fight, but that
Yeah.
was a good ass fight. So the kid has a couple of good fights. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a lot of good names. Maybe like five good fighters on his resume between Saul Canelo, in which he lost, and you can say that Canelo carried him, and he wanted to, I don't know, just put on a good fight. It was a good sparring session for Canelo. It was a hellacious fight for Jaime because he was just superior to Jaime in every single aspect. John Ryder was very one-sided. I don't even think John Ryder landed anything notes of Jaime. Jaime used his jab and his range, and when he turned it up, he turned it up. Sergey Derenchenko, he did life and death. So he pretty much has like five good fighters, bro. You know? But none of those guys, all of those guys are bigger punchers and have more experience than Bruno. Bruno was the one, bro, 25-0 with 2 draws, 4 KOs, and he fucking sleeps Jaime, bro. He puts him on his ass, you know? And yeah, man. Like Bruno, bro. What do you know about Bruno?
Nothing. Nothing, right? I mean, so
Crazy, bro.
look, he calls himself Brunello, right, for a reason. He came over here with the idea that he was going to be the next big star from France, that he could be the next Canelo. Now, in resume and appearance and otherwise, we know that that's not the case, right? Bruno could never become Canelo, not with the kind of career that he's been forming to date, right? Somebody pointed out to me that in the past 6 fights, his opponents combined win-loss ratio is about 10 wins to 135 losses.
Listen,
I don't think Canelo has one upside down fighter.
this
This
is
guy has
greater.
about 10 of them.
I no, I hear you. I completely agree. But this is the greatest upset than Andy Ruiz beating Anthony Joshua.
Of course.
This is the greatest upset since Bust. Like, this is the greatest upset of all time, bro. Because what you just said, this dude, if you combine all of his opponents, only one of them has like a good winning record of 11-0. Everybody else has 5-23, 7-3, 11-22, 8-10, 15-39, 16-36, 8-31. Like, this dude, Bruno, is the greatest upset in boxing history. Better than Andy Ruiz, because Andy Ruiz is a really good fighter. He fought Joseph Parker. He fought I thought he won, but they gave it to Joseph Parker in Australia or New Zealand, wherever he's fought. He fought that big Russian, and then he got the last minute call against Anthony Joshua. Andy Ruiz is no joke. He was a top 15, top 20 fighter.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's a great upset because people got it wrong. Not a great upset because he wasn't supposed to be there. No, Andy was supposed to be there in that moment. But Bruno, bro, dude, this guy is not a knockout artist. You combine all of his records of his opponents, they probably have 75 wins to 545 losses, and he knocks out, bro, Jaime Munguia and Tijuana, bro. With the stadium was filled.
It's a lot like Rafael
Wow,
El
bro.
Divino
What?
Espinosa. It's a lot like Rafael El Divino Espinosa in the
It's not
sense
even
that
close.
no, it is close.
It's not.
Rafael Divino Espinosa also has upside down fighters. El
Yes,
Divino Espinosa has also only fought in his own hometown, in his
yes,
own country of the nation state of Mexico. The guy has no names of note. The
yes,
guy was the big underdog in comparison to two-time gold Olympian and Robesi Ramirez, right? In fact, if you want to push it like that, if you want to go at it, you would actually have to say that El Divino, just on name recognition alone,
it's a
he
field.
also came into the United States, which for the most part, I guess we can say is more the hometown of Robesi than it is of him. He came over here to the U.S. and a known fighter with similar, about 20 or so uh, wins, about a 50% knockout ratio, with again a lot of names that are upside down. Never left Mexico, never fought any former champions, no names, and he
Yeah.
just upset him, right? So it's very similar.
What? No, whoa, 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 whoa. Nah, see? No, don't do that, man. Don't do that. It's not similar because that guy, while he doesn't have anybody worthy of note on his resume, Rafael Espinoza, right? What does he have? He's 6'2". What does he have? 24 wins by 22 knockouts. That's almost 100% knockout ratio. Bruno, 25 wins, 2 draws, 4 knockouts, bro. 4 against those mediocre backwards resume fighters. You see, when you're Rafael Espinoza, you're fighting these guys that suck. You're supposed to knock them out in 1, 2, 3 rounds, and that's why you get a 90 knockout percent ratio, right? Because you let people know, bro, you're not in my league. So you do and you handle business accordingly. You knock them out. But when you're Bruno and you're fighting those same guys with some whack ass resumes, right? And you're going, let's say, life and death or going the distance, you're like, bro, how come you can't knock these dudes out? We're putting these dudes with some weak resumes, so you journeymen, so you could knock them out and get highlights, and that's how we promote you. But you're putting on stinkers, bro. It's like you're afraid to get hit. See, Rafael is handling business accordingly. 24 wins, 22 knockouts. He builds up this amazing resume. But, the experts think, bro, but you're not really knocking out nobody. That's what Alexis Rocha told Raul Curiel. Yeah, bro, he's got a nice resume in terms of statistics, but who is he really knocking out? And what does Alexis Rocha show him? Then let me show you that you won't be able to knock me out or even hurt me. And that's exactly what happened. So Rafael Espinoza has a lot of advantages over Robesi Ramirez. He's like 7 inches longer, let alone the arm length, the height, and he can knock out a bunch of dudes, right? So it is quite shocking that he beats Robeisy Ramirez, but not really, because Robeisy Ramirez got knocked out in his first professional fight turned pro. So that lets us know that he's already chinny, and he got knocked out by a Mexican. Now, Jaime Munguia, Canelo Alvarez couldn't knock him out. We're
Yeah,
talking
but
about
see, Steve, this is the so look again. I'm just telling you that it's not too far fetched to think that both Rafael Divino Espinosa and Bruno Brunello Suarez are very similar in the fact that they had an opportunity to fight for the prize. They took it and they surprised the whole world. They shocked the world. It's no different now. Can we argue that one guy's is upset and in underdog status is greater than the others? Absolutely, we could. Rafael Divino Espinosa is from a nation that it has about what 300, 400 million people in it, right?
wait,
And
what is
France is what? How big is France? Like I don't know, 10 million people, whatever, right? So we're talking about a whole nation of people, and again with the physical attributes that Rafael had over Robesi, that of course it would be a tall task for Ramirez to beat that guy. I get all of that, but what I'm saying is, in the way that they shocked the world, right? They're not too dissimilar. Nobody's gonna argue all day and night about which fight was a bigger shocker. Some guy that you've never heard of versus another guy who you've never heard of, who fought a big name, who the other guy fought a big name, who one guy ended up stopping the other guy or close to it, and the other guy knocked him out. Right. So I don't think that's the story that we should run with. Which underdog story is greater? Although we live for those underdog
no, I
stories,
literally
they're
just said
very close to
it's
each
the
other.
greatest underdog knockout of all time. Of all time. You try to compare it to Rafael Espinoza, and it's not even comparable. See, Rafael Espinoza beating Robeisy Ramirez is more equivalent to Antonio Margarito beating down Miguel Cotto. But when you look at it, Espinoza, like Margarito, they're big ass dudes. They're strong and knockout artists, and they've hurt people. Cotto, like Robeisy Ramirez, are Olympians. They have standing. They got political ties with promotion networks, and people root for them, right? That's more comparable. But a lot of people wouldn't say that Antonio Margarito beating Miguel Cotto was one of the greatest upsets ever. No.
Of course not, because people had Margarito before. People that had been following boxing had known about Margarito, bro. Look, Margarito did not just come out of crawled under a rock and then all of a sudden got a Cotto fight. People had been watching Margarito come up through the ranks. Nobody saw Brunello come up through the ranks. Nobody saw Ramirez come up through the ranks at all.
Either coming up through the ranks. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. A lot of people, what I'm trying to say is this: because the bookies get it wrong, again, Rafael Espinoza, Antonio Margarito, and Andy Ruiz, those are great upsets. But when you really look back at it, right, everything's in hindsight, obviously. But when you look at every statistic, resume, right, whether this guy has certain advantages, X, Y, and Z, then you look at it like Bruno isn't taller than Jaime Munguia. He's 6 foot tall. Jaime is 6'1", 6'2". Experience, Jaime. Knockout power, Jaime. Resume, Jaime. 3-time division champion, Jaime. In Tijuana in Mexico, Jaime. Everything is catered for Jaime. And that's why in the first round, he knocks him down with a left hook. Right? Bruno finds a right hand, and he's not a knockout artist because he can't knock out these dudes with 7 wins and 45 teams. So if he can't even knock out journeyman like Rafael Espinoza is doing before he leads up to Robeisy Ramirez, what makes us think that you're going to knock out Jaime Munguia? So my mom,
Yeah.
and my parents, my mom and my dad, they love Jaime Munguia. And I guess, my mom, my
I
girl.
love him in Mugia too. I mean, why wouldn't he? He's always been an action fighter. He's flawed, but he's exciting. Who doesn't like the
So they
guy?
downloaded my mom, our parents, TikTok, and she's always like sending me these reels. And the other day she made pozole, Anyway, and she made pozole, salsa verde, todo eso. And long story short, she's showing me this clip of this guy on TikTok. I guess he's like a boxing follower or whatever, and he's talking about how the management team of Jaime Munguia got it wrong. Okay, they were saying like, "Ira, bro, like he's signing shirts and talking with fans and all of these things when he should be dialed in and focused, and when he's doing like his shadow boxing." And I'm thinking to my mom, and I'm reading these things, and then the guy makes a comparison with one of the Rocky 3 movies that, you know, the whoever the challenger is for the Stallone, this is what he was doing similar. So he makes this connection. It's like, no, bro, you're supposed to be dialed in X, Y, and Z. And everything what the guy was saying was true. It is true. You're supposed to be dialed in. You're supposed to be focused. However, I told my mom is this. Everything that the guy is saying is true. But you mean to tell me after 44 fights, finally when you get knocked out, now you want to bring that situation? No, like the Mexican G says, he's surprised that Munguia has made it this far. He's been flawed. It was just a matter of time. And that's the way I look at it. See, Golden Boy understood that. Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, he knew that Jaime was flawed. How many times did we see guys like Jimmy Kelly, Gabe Rosado, all of these dudes put hands on Munguia? We've seen everybody start fucking up Jaime Munguia. Then all of a sudden, he finds that knockout or that knockdown, and then he throws the barrage of punches. Go back versus Sergey Derenchenko. And these dudes that are snapping Jaime Munguia's face back and bleeding him up from the nose, they're not Hall of Famers themselves. They're not even champions. You get what I'm saying?
That is true. That is true. But I just ask you, uh, does it have to be a Hall of Famer in order to hit another guy? Does a fighter have to be perfect? No. I challenge you to find me a name that's perfect. Find me a guy who doesn't get hit. There ain't gonna be that guy. The only thing is this, right? Look, Jaime Munguia lost this fight because he became too comfortable, right? See, I don't know what your opinion is of what really transpired over the weekend, right? But all Jaime Munguia was trying to do, Munguia was trying to do, he was trying to bring a winnable fight to his backyard to entertain his people, his next door neighbors, his friends that he grew up with. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to take a he wanted to take a keep busy fight where he gets to entertain people and make a couple of bucks. That's all he tried to do. I don't fault the guy for it. I don't. If I could have a fight in my own backyard, fill up an arena, which he didn't, by the way. I don't think he filled up half of the arena. But if I could have my people come and cheer for me while I take on a very winnable fight, and how do we know it's winnable? Because of the many aforementioned reasons that you gave, I would do it. It's easy money, right? But the fact of the matter is that when you decide to fight only within your comfort zones, you become lackadaisical. You allow for too many lapses of judgments to take place due to the fact that you think you are just taking a soft touch. But I like to remind everybody, right, that this is the sport of boxing. This is the puncher's chance, right? In no way in heck is Bruno Surace better fighter than Jaime Munguia. He's not a better fighter. He's not a more knockout artist. He is not more resilient at all. In a rematch where Munguia dedicates himself to taking it easy instead of just making quick money for his friends and his buddies in his backyard, I assure you, Jaime Munguia beats this guy. Might even stop him. But the fact of the matter is, he was doing it all for the wrong reasons. Not to be competitive, not to advance his career, not to make millions of dollars. He was just trying to do it for the entertainment and a quick buck. I don't fault the guy for it. He was trying to entertain people. He thought that he was probably going to go over there and run roughshod over this guy, destroy this guy, and that was it. But the problem is, homie Ricky, you cannot take a fighter that there is no footage on from a part of the world that it is not known for fights of high caliber, and then decide to fight these guys under the pretext of just making money, because you're just setting yourself up for failure, bro. You're making it too easy for yourself to take it easy in the gym where you're preparing, to take it easy in the sparring where you're supposed to go over there and practice to become a strong, stern, and defensible individual. He did it all for the right reasons for the boxing world, but for the wrong reasons if you want to make this a career. You see, this is the reason why people like Alexander Usyk and all of these traveling fighters, they are so successful in the sport, because they're always going to be in uncomfortable situations that do not behoove them, that do not benefit them, but because they know they're getting in those situations, they're always going to try harder to overcome them. Jaime Munguia did everything the wrong way if he wanted to remain a contender in the sport. But you know what? He just got clipped, bro. He made one mistake and he paid the punishment in the sport of a puncher's chance. And I assure you, this is not the end of Jaime Munguia.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying Jaime Munguia is gonna ask for the rematch. Jaime Munguia is gonna beat this
I mean,
guy.
Munguia already did ask for the rematch, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, bro. I think
Go for it.
he's gonna get knocked out again.
What? What are you talking about? Tell me why.
Now, I will tell you why. Because he is, like you said, he's too comfortable. You see, Jaime should have never left Freddie Roach.
Hmm.
Bro, you don't leave a great trainer
Nope.
to go train with Eric Morales. There's a reason why you
El
left
terrible.
the first time, bro.
El
You were
terrible.
not getting good. You were not getting better. You were not progressing. After Sergey Derenchenko was fucking you up, you were like, damn, I need to go with a better trainer. That's what you're supposed to do. Go with a better trainer. You don't regress, bro. Ryan Garcia, right? You don't leave Eddie Reynoso and then go to, let's say, working back with your dad. No, you go with Derrick James. You go with another great trainer. You don't go back to somebody that you don't feel comfortable with anymore. You have to progress. You got to get better. He goes back to Eric Morales, right? You don't do that, bro. You were barely getting better. Before the Canelo fight, Jaime was progressing better with Freddie Roach. He starts having a game plan, right? You saw the skills that he was implementing at 168 when he fought John Ryder. And then Canelo notices, I wait, Jaime's getting a little better. Let me fight him now before he gets a little, he gets much superior. Now, I'm not saying no way in shape or hell that Jaime's gonna get that much better that he's gonna beat Canelo, but he's learning and progressing really good with Freddie Roach. Canelo catches him at a very good time. Boom. Shows you I'm much more superior right now. But you see the potential in Jaime as long as he stays with Freddie Roach,
Yep, yep,
right?
yep.
And he fucking leaves.
Yeah.
I don't know what Canelo must have told him. He probably told him, hey, bro, alejate de Golden Boy. This is what they do with business. And probably Jaime, like, todo risueño el way, he said, pues, okay, Canelo, I'll leave, bro. Thank you for this opportunity, vato. Like, and then he probably bounces back thinking he's this fucking megastar and that he can sell all these things. Like my dad told me, my dad was like, man, Jaime's dumb. Because he knows it's like you can be making so much more money in America than you are fighting in your pueblo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of those fighters like Emmanuel Navarrete come over here to fight. You see what I'm saying? That's why they always cross over the border to fight over here because there's more money to make. Even if they're getting paid $250, it's still more than like 10,000 pesos that they're giving you in Mexico. You know what I mean? Even like my parents were saying, like in regards to your son, like she goes, what did my mom say? She's something about like Coach Danny's probably making good money when he hosts these amateur events, but at least he gives your son some rock boxing sports jackets and all of these merchandise. So se anima a pelear más, right? He goes over there in the amateur boxing in Mexico, they can barely afford shirts and shoes. Sometimes they fight in fucking cowboy boots. So she goes, at least they give you stuff here. Over there, they don't, and that's why they cross over. Jaime, bro, you don't go from a Canelo sweepstakes right, in that performance on pay-per-view in a grand stage, and you fight undefeated fighters, good fighters at the time, like Eric Bazinian, right? These low risk. No, bro. At that point, you go fight after David Benavides. You go after a Christian and Billy. You go after let me see, Edgar Berlanga. You know what I mean? Eventually, you're gonna get sparked out by some dude that you don't know. And unfortunately, Bruno was the guy that fucked him up, bro. And you said something about a puncher's chance. Yes, a puncher's chance only works if you are a puncher. Not if you barely knock out 10%. You're not like 10%.
15%, buddy. But
15%.
so again, look,
You're not even knocking out half your opponents with backwards records, bro. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So you're not even a knockout artist. You don't even have a puncher's chance. You can't just throw punches and like, oh, I just throw something in the wind. No, a puncher's chance means this, right? Let's say like Camarón Cepeda. He's a knockout artist. He has a puncher's chance against Shakur Stevenson because he's not gonna be able to outbox Shakur Stevenson, but he has a puncher's chance, and maybe he can swarm him with a bunch of chingadazos, because he throws 100 punches per round, and that's possibly how you can beat Shakur. But you see, this is the beauty about having a Golden Boy and a top tier promoter is that they know, especially Golden Boy, he's always pampered and babied his fighters. If you look at Zurdo Ramirez, for a long time he's been fighting mediocre fighters, and then you watch him fight Bivol, and you're like, "Fuck, Zurdo, you're fucking ass. You're hella slow. You got a fat ass. You bloated up. You got a fat ass gut." Bro, you're slow as molasses. Where's your footwork? Where's that Jesse Hart side to side movement? What's your combination?
Yeah. So
Bro?
see, this is that dichotomy. This is the dichotomy,
So
right?
Golden Boy knows that, and they're like, "All right, dude, let's go Surdo. We can fight other fighters, and you're not shit when you come up with these elites." Same
See,
thing.
so this is the dichotomy that I'm trying to point out to you, right? You have to pick and choose what it is that you want out of these fighters, Omi Ricky. This was Oscar de la Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions doing right by Jaime Munguia by matchmaking him matching him well against fighters where he was able to overcome, make a good money, develop a career, and move on until the time comes where he has to actually face competition to take it to the next level. Then it looks like booty, like Zurdo Ramirez or even Jaime Munguia against Canelo, or even Derevchenko or John Ryder. Is that what you want out of these guys? A guy who can make a career, get to the big shot, and then maybe get destroyed, or can he one day, or or, or should he be what he's doing right now, which is leaving the more comfortable, safer matchmaking for perhaps bigger odds later on. At least, perhaps not maybe having an easier career, but perhaps making you a superstar. Because one thing that we know about Top Rank, right, is they could make superstars. They could make wealthy individuals, right? They're the best at it. Top Rank
What
is, right?
superstar has Top Rank made?
Well, Money Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, right? I mean, um, isn't that their fighters? I mean,
I don't think
maybe
that
not.
they signed Mayweather, but Mayweather left them way before he got big. Pacquiao, yeah,
Yeah, and again, but they also make the best fighters though. So it's not just
yeah,
the
they make the
bigger.
best fighters. I agree. They signed
Yeah,
the best fighters.
yeah. So you have to ask yourself.
They signed the best Olympians. Let's just.
So
That's
we have to ask ourselves: do we? Well, look. At the end of the day, I guess you're right. Right? It's probably better to be in the career, uh, like under Oscar de la Hoya, because at least in that case, you're gonna develop good fights where you're gonna barely overcome them, but you live to see another good fight the next day. You don't get defeated by guys like this because Oscar probably would never pit this guy against him. Maybe he would. Maybe he would. Maybe he'd look at the guy's record and be like, you know what, I can make Jaime look good under this guy right here, 25-0. Maybe anybody would do it, right? But I think Oscar did well by Jaime, right? He got him a Canelo fight, made him a multimillionaire. And like you said, he's always been a flawed fighter. He's been in so many fights that he should have lost or he could have lost, but he always overcame, right? And look, in just 2 fights, Bob Arum allows him to become the laughing stock of the sport. He allowed an account of Jaime Munguia's defeat for this Frenchman, Brunello. He basically is trying to call himself a French Canelo. Brunello Serras, what I like to call it Sriracha, right? Sriracha. He got beat by that guy. It doesn't get any worse than that. But you have to ask yourself, was that Mr. Bob Arum trying to put a Jeff Horn on a Manny Pacquiao, what Sriracha was supposed to be to Jaime Munguia, or was this all Jaime Munguia's making? And I really believe it was all Jaime Munguia, homie. I think, again, I don't think he meant to just,
No, this is
uh,
only all on Munguia. I agree with
yeah,
your statement when you said this is probably a golden boy opponent for Jaime. You're fucking right. But the problem is, Oscar will probably let you know it's like, hey, bro, this is supposed to be a soft touch, but don't lose concentration. Remember, Oscar built that great fight for Jaime against Canelo Alvarez. Like it was like all respectful, and Oscar came in there with in the presser throwing blows. You know what I mean? Defending himself. You know what I mean? And it got really good, bro. Like the promotion got really good, and that's just a little bit of the things that Golden Boy is capable of doing for Jaime. But man, yeah, I agree. Hook, line, and sinker. This is probably an opponent that Golden Boy tries to get for Jaime. But be that as it may, this is all on Jaime. No one else. This is all Jaime's fault. He should have never left Freddie Roach. He should have never left Golden Boy. He tried to do his own thing with his promotional company, Beltron and Tijuana and Top Rank, and it backfired. Now he evoked his rematch. The Mexican G goes, he got a lucky punch. Do you believe that it was a lucky punch?
okay, so let's talk about that, right? Okay, let me ask you, homie Ricky, do you think it was a lucky punch or not?
No, that was a beautiful placed
I
punch.
agree.
The guy did not close his eyes throwing it. It was a beautiful, proper technique. It was everything. It was textbook. You would almost imagine yourself, damn, bro. If you can knock out Jaime, how come you don't have more knockout records? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? More knockout statistics on your resume.
And Jaime is one of the
Playing.
Jaime has one of the best beards in the sport.
I agree with un chingo,
Wow.
and he couldn't get it done, bro.
Yeah. So look, I agree with you, homie Ricky. Actually, before I give you my answer, I'd just like to, provide my salutations to El Pachuco. Always a pleasure, Pachuco. I am glad to run into you again over here in these YouTube streets, amigos. So thank you very much for coming over here. Saludos, mi Pachuco. ¿Cómo ando todo, amigo? Todo bien, Warp Speed. Ojalá que te encuentres bien. Aquí bien al 100, Pachuco. Always 100%. Siempre, siempre me la trato de llevar chido. El Pachuco states Munguia regresses under Eric Morales. Absolutely. He was doing well under Freddie Roach. Yup. Look, he goes on to say Munguia was trained to convert into a boxer puncher, but Munguia at his best is a come forward pressure fighter. Another very succinct and very astute observation, right? That under Eric Morales, that is true, right? Under Eric Morales, remember, homie Ricky, the very first fight that he had under Eric Morales, he corrected some things, some defensive things. I think the very first fight that I saw him was where he fought that what is it, a light skinned black Canadian who he ended up ripping part of his lip off. The
Ooh,
lip flew off. It was like maybe a tenth of his lip just flew off when the punch. Jaime Munguia just boom uppercutted them right there, and I guess the Canadian he ended up biting into his. Oh, it was disgusting, bro. But the flesh just flies off, right? And that was one of the fights that I had seen Jaime Munguia under the tutelage of El Terrible Morales. Now, when I saw that he was employing that new defensive thing, I think it was more like a pull counter or some kind of stuff, right? I was like, whoa, whoa, I never seen this right here. And then after that, he lost it. And I saw that he was still fighting under Morales, and I was like, how come he's not getting better? In fact, how come he looks a little more flat? And then, of course, he ended up going to Freddie Roach for his bigger fights, always looking more excellent, right? Now, this weekend's fight, Freddie Roach could not be in both places at once. He could not be cornering Raul Curiel in one place and Jaime Munguia in another down south. I mean, both of them are, down in, near the border of California, Los Angeles, maybe 5 hours away from the border, and the other one in Tijuana. He couldn't be in both places. But I assure you, he would have been in the corner of Munguia over Curiel's any day because a bigger name, bigger purse, he's going to get his 15-20% cut, right? But you have to ask yourself, homie Ricky, did he decide, did Munguia decide to take this fight under the tutelage of Eric Morales because it didn't deserve the high caliber, more masterful training that Freddie brings for this guy that had no name, no record, and upside down record of fights in the past 6 fights? Did he really need Freddie there? And the answer is no. He really didn't need Freddie there. So I'm not blaming Freddie in his absence. I'm not even blaming Eric Morales in his inability to train better than Freddie. I'm blaming Jaime Munguia trying to take on a very comfortable fight with a no name in his backyard on the cheap for the right purposes, which is to entertain his fan base and to make a quick buck. I don't fault him on that. But the fact of the matter is, to answer your question, no, it was not a lucky punch. And how do I know it wasn't a lucky punch? Because when I was watching the fight, homie Ricky, and I know you didn't believe me that I was watching it, even though I was driving and watching the fight on my cell phone, I kept seeing the other guy always in the fight. The guy was defensively responsible. He would shut up rather well. He would try to counter at the right moments, right? He realized one of Munguia's glaring faults was his lean to the right with his left hand dropped down, and he continued to chop down with his right hand over that left shoulder of Munguia. He hit him easily 4 times. And in fact, a few seconds right before he dropped him, Munguia made the same glaring mistake. And then the next time it happened, the guy just took a sidestep, got on the angle of Munguia. Munguia just froze there. I mean, if you see it in slow motion, you see how slow Munguia was. And that's why there's a lot of controversy, people thinking that he may have actually done it on purpose, that he went there to lose. Like, incredible. I don't know how these conspiracies start, but it looked like he didn't take this guy responsibly. Now, Munguia got knocked out by a guy who was learning what to do in the fight. Sriracha
But isn't
was
that what we want, though, bro? Like upsets.
absolutely.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I'm waiting for the moment for Canelo get upset.
World, bro. Like, I know Jaime is Mexicano, bro. Yeah, and we're supposed to root for. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get all that. But, bro, this is going against the script. This is supposed to be easy touches. Y toma, way. This is what happens, bro. You know what I mean?
Look,
This is what you get. This is fantastic, bro. Like, Vince Foles, we don't know the fighter, how good a fighter is until they lose, until they actually do. Good to find out now rather than a no-show in a title fight. That's a great point. Because I don't blame Jaime so much for losing this fight. Sure, we could. And I was telling my mom, this is boxing. This shit happens, you know? However, I hate seeing Zurdo versus Bivol, bro. That fight, that was horrible. Because I was like, come on, Zurdo. Like, I actually think that you can avenge Canelo here, make a name for yourself. And then next thing you know, you gave a horrible ass performance like that. You know what I mean? And it's not even competitive. You barely win one round, maybe 30 seconds of a fight. Horrible. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, come on, bro. I know Bivol was good, but he ain't that good, bro. Like, come on. Turns out, I guess he was. Or maybe Zurdo wasn't that supposed to be. Zurdo was taller. He had longer arms. He looked way bigger. And all of these things. And you think to yourself, like, come on, bro. Give us a competitive match. He was not. Whereas in this particular case, we've seen Jaime lose before. We know that he could potentially be the goods or not the goods, depending on the opponent. But yeah, man, I was this is kind of what we live for. Going against the script that we know it's not a predetermined outcome. This shocked the world, bro. And Bruno or the French have somebody to root for. Like this guy
Yeah.
just became a star, bro. He got unlimited access, right, to the pubs in France. Probably gonna have some fine cuisine with that Frenchman star, Mbappe. This is great.
Empate.
You know that Ninja Turtle soccer player?
No, I don't know him.
Oh, okay. I thought you knew who Mbappe was. Like, what's his name? Yeah. Anyway, he's supposed to be like the next wave of like amazingness in soccer after post Lionel Messi, post Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You know
But
who
yeah, but homie Ricky, look, it wasn't a lucky punch. Uh, Sriracha was getting better and better as the fight progressed. The stoppage start happened in the midway, a little past the midway of the sixth round, and at that moment I had 2 rounds to Sriracha, three to Munguia, but they were very close rounds, right? I mean, Munguia was throwing more punches. He was being the forward aggressor. I always give the better odds to those guys, right? The backward mover. But there was moments when Sriracha was actually also walking down Munguia. So it was a very good back and forth fight, right? Sriracha was throwing less, but he was getting some very good licks on Munguia. In fact, one can argue that Brunello was landing the better quality punches over Munguia. Yep, Munguia was throwing more and he was investing to the body. I appreciate the body work, but the kind of punches that would lead to a knockout were the ones that Bruno was throwing, right? And so it wasn't a lucky punch where the guy's losing everything and then he just throws a big bolo of shots and then all of a sudden one of those volleys just lands on Munguia and he clips him, right? No, Bruno was in the fight. Bruno was learning on the clock, and he ended up finding the opportunity and he capitalized. So is this one of those, miracle punches? Absolutely not. Bruno was getting better. Munguia took this guy too easy. He walked in there lackadaisical, and he paid the consequence. Now, again, if there's a rematch, I am of the mind that Munguia will beat this guy very easily, convincingly so, and he will do it under the tutelage of Freddie Roach, because that seems to be what Munguia is doing. Going back and forth, just jumping trainers whenever he wants to get a cheap pay. He's just gonna go to Eric and give him pesos instead of dollars. And when he wants to take himself serious, he's gonna go back to Freddie for the dollar money, right? But now you have to ask yourself, who's he gonna have in this next corner if he doesn't get the Frenchman back for a rematch? He's not gonna get Edgar Berlanga. That's the fight that I wanted. That was the
I think
best fight I could think of.
Edgar Berlanga, he knows now he's got a little confident. He knows that Canelo couldn't knock him out. He sees that Jaime's a little chinny. I think Berlanga, that's in Berlanga's nature for soft touches. And he might think Jaime is soft right now. This might have just opened more opportunities for Jaime to get that Berlanga fight. Because everybody wants to knock out a notable name. Jaime is a notable name. You can sell the Puerto Rican Mexican fan base. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I think this opened much more opportunities. I don't really think like it's a bad loss, bro. I think this is a great moment, and this shit happens, and it's good that these things happen.
I agree.
Like I don't see no badness out of this thing. Like I'm like, shout out to you, Bruno, Jaime, shame on you, but hey, it makes for a great, better story.
And of course that whole karma angle, right? The he betrayed Oscar De La Hoya. He abandoned Freddie. All of those things. It was set up. He set himself up, homie. He mismanaged this opportunity. In fact, he probably shouldn't even have fought. To tell you the truth, why fight? Why fight at in the middle of December at what 9 o'clock at night when there's three other events, including the UFC one taking place that same night. In fact, this is how bad this fight was supposed to be. Top Rank did a mediocre job in promoting it. In fact, to tell you the honest truth, the only reason I knew that the fight was happening is because I check on the boxing scene um, schedule every day just to see what fights are taking place in what part of the world, just to see if I could catch something. And I saw Munguia, and I was like, Munguia? Like, I mean, we have more attention being driven to the Golden Boy fight between Alexis Rocha, who just got destroyed, and his last fight with Giovanni Santillan and Raul Curiel, which again there is nary footage on the guy, even though we know that he's a Mexican Olympian, because because that fight right there is less important to a Munguia fight. Because Munguia has been a pay-per-view fighter. Munguia has been a fighter that we've seen for 40 fights or so. He's only lost, technically so, on the record at least, he's only lost to the best pound for pound fighter in the world, if not the second best or whatever you guys want to peg Canelo in. We were supposed to watch Jaime Munguia, but the majority of the people were watching the Golden Boy event in Ontario, California, between a Mexican Olympian and a guy who just got destroyed at the hands of Santillan. But that's how bad this fight was. It was supposed to be the easiest fight that Jaime Munguia could have taken, and when you don't have something to wake up for, it's easy to just go in there and half-ass it. And I think Munguia half-assed it, and I think it's going to be the best thing for him. And I think it's also going to be the best thing for Sriracha. Whatever Sriracha decides to do, of course, he must know that the biggest purse he has an opportunity for right now is going to be Jaime Munguia rematch, and he can also be that it's I'm not a flash in the pan, I'm the real deal, I can do it again. He can take that opportunity and run with it, right? So this is great for the sport. Unfortunately, it is with a fighter that we've come to respect and admire in Jaime, but he is young, and young people do make mistakes, so I will forgive him and hope to see him pretty soon. And Pachuco says, with all due respect to the great Eric Morales, he doesn't give good corner advice to his fighter. When I listen in to the corner, it's not good advice. Well, maybe El Pachuco, if you don't mind expounding on that. I didn't really get to hear much about the corner advice, but if you wouldn't mind just, maybe expounding on what you mean, what kind of advice or misadvice you may have heard, we'd appreciate it. The Mexican Jesus, everybody knew Bivol was going to do in Zurdo. Well, everybody with boxing knowledge. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. El Pachuco says Zurdo's performance against Beaver was disappointing. It was disappointing and atrocious, to tell you the honest truth. Dream is in the lobby, so I don't know if you want to hop him in. El Pachuco says Munguia underestimated the Frenchman, but no excuses. It was Munguia's own undoing. Absolutely, El Pachuco. Drew missed the fight, and El Pachuco says Munguia would do well with Manny Robles. Yeah. What do you think about that pairing right there, homie? Manny Robles.
I have a lot of respect for Manny Robles. In fact, he trains one of our Salinas fighters, Adrian Serrano. So I like Manny Robles. I've always liked him when he had Jesse Magdaleno, Oscar Valdez, Mick Conlon, and Andy Ruiz. It's a damn shame that all of those fighters left him. So fuck all those four fighters. Honestly, I love and respect Manny Robles, God-fearing man. I got nothing but great things to say about him. So hopefully he gets a great fighter. Um, you know, that's why he's able to train Sergey Bohachuk in the manner in which he gave Virgil Ortiz. Manny Robles is a great trainer, man. And
Yeah.
he also had like a great female fighter as well. I don't forget her name, but he's a great trainer, man. Jaime would do great with any trainer other than Eric Morales, bro. Like,
Wow,
you can't trust
man.
the nonsense of Eric Morales not being a great trainer, bro. Like, but be that as it may, yeah, dude.
And
No,
then Pachuco,
that
of
was
course.
great. El Pachuco goes, Alexis Rocha is a good boxer, man, but
Yeah.
he is small for the welterweight. Excuse me, for
Yeah.
the
For no, it was
welterweight.
welterweight.
I agree, man. I would love for Alexis Rocha to go down to 140. In
He
fact,
can't do it.
What happened?
He can't do it.
Well, surprisingly, I heard that Oscar was trying to have Alexis Rocha fight Ryan Garcia at 140. And I think Alexis Rocha was even interested in the idea of going at one point to 140. I agree. Alexis Rocha is small for a welterweight, but he's big for a 140 pounder. Porque, like, the kid's got big legs, bro. Big thighs, big chamorros. You know what I mean? It's a big kid. He just doesn't hit like a welterweight. He's got the stature of one. He's, but he's not like a big puncher. Because when you're watching that fight versus Raul Curiel, he's throwing with proper technique in all his might. He just has like implicating punching power. It's not there. But you hear the snap, you hear the thud. The kid's got snap, and he's got great punch selection.
Yeah.
Just doesn't have heavy hands. And the question is this: can you develop heavy hands as you get later into your career? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, you might not be a puncher right now when you're young, but quote unquote growing into your man strength, right? You can develop man strength. I mean, you can have power when you're 18 years old, 17 years old, and you can enhance that power. But if you've never been a power puncher, let's say like Mauricio Herrera, right? Or a Rod Salka, you can become a late bloomer, but you're going to have to change your diet and your every day-to-day training. So let's say like if I'm a construction worker, right? Or a plumber or a driller or somebody that's fracking, right? I got to take some of those type of jobs where I'm fucking having a lot of torque, forearm muscle, and just upper body and lower body, like a full body workout. But if you just go to the gym and you're eating salads like a fucking turtle and you're just hitting all these bag all malnourished, well, claro que no way. You know what I mean? You're on a fucking vegan diet. You know what I mean? You have to change your whole regimen of what you do between your 9 to 5, and it can't just be gym work. You see, going to the gym doesn't translate necessarily to boxing. You get what I'm saying? I can bench two plates. That's 225. It doesn't mean you're gonna hit hard. You get what I'm saying? Because those are just reps. Those are reps. That doesn't translate to like kinetic movement, kinetic power, that weight transfer. And I'm not just talking punching technique and all that stuff. I'm just saying like Orlando Salido. That guy is a construction worker. He hits hard. You can tell that he hits hard. He has heavy hands. Emmanuel Navarrete. I don't know if he ever had like a regular job, but let's just say for the sake of argument, that kid doesn't lift weights. He probably just naturally born with technique and probably like good carne, whatever the case may be.
Hey,
lack of technique.
You can translate your whole regimen so you can develop power. Anyway, what the hell was I going with this? Why did I bring this up?
Well, you were at. Okay, sorry.
You said benching 2 plates or something like that.
No. He said the question was. No, the question was whether or not you can develop punching power, concussive power when you're older, and absolutely. In fact, it'll probably promote it.
We're talking about Alexis Rocha, why he was too small for welterweight, but not and not being a big puncher. Gotcha. I trust Charles. I lost train of thought for a bit. Yo, Drew, hey, do me a favor, brother, because I can barely hear you, man.
I'm right here.
No, I know, but like you guys
closer.
Can hear him, right?
Speak louder.
My chin is on the keyboard. I'm like, right.
Bro, you're gonna have to get yourself a cheap headset, bro.
Yeah, my chin is like literally like I'm looking at the screen like I'm about to get some glasses and shit. But,
yeah, man. I mean, it's just probably like the built-in mic on your computer then or on your phone, because yeah, bro, like you sound low like this. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, like that's what it sounds like. Look, let me read a couple of these comments before we introduce Drew, and he can give us his take on a couple of his fights. First and foremost, the Mexican G goes, wait, what? Munguia lost to a Frenchman? Good Lord. It just got even worse for him. And
Ooh la la.
He goes, Munguia regresses under Freddie Roach. Under Eric Morales. He was doing well. With all due respect to the great Eric Morales, he doesn't give good corner advice to his fighter. When I'm listening into the corner, it's not sound advice. I agree. Everybody, the Mexican G goes, everybody knew Bivol was going to beat Zurdo. Well, everyone with boxing knowledge. No, I agree. I thought Bivol was the better fighter than Zurdo. He showed it to me against the Canelo Alvarez fight. but I felt like Zurdo was gonna do more than just win one round. I mean, bro, the dude only won 2 rounds. You know what I mean? Like, I thought, like, bro, you're 6'3", 6'4". Yeah, keep the motherfucker at the end of the jab. When he comes in, boom, 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 boom. Meet him up with some combinations to the body when he bounces in with the 1-2, 1-2. You didn't even throw body punches. And that's what you're known for, Zurdo. That little uppercut right to the solar plexus. I said, well, no, every single round when it ended, he always wanted to touch Biv's gloves. And Biv was like, man, don't fucking touch me. He even gave him a shoulder bump. And I was like, Zurdo, you little culero, bro. Anyway, Drew goes, lobby. Munguia, El Pachuco goes, Munguia underestimated the Frenchman. But no excuses. It was Munguia's undoing. Drew goes, I did not watch the fight.
I read those, bro.
Boy, you read all of these? Man.
Yeah, all of them, bro.
The Mexican boxing number 1 goes, he's getting it back in blood. Rematch clause activated. He will win by knockouts. Jaime and Wilder will learn how to do it instead of suing. The Mexican G goes, man, Rod Salka, ain't that dude that got flatlined by Danny G? Bro, surprisingly, Rod Salka isn't a bad fighter.
It's pretty good.
Dude, when you move him from like 130 all the way to 147 and you get hit with a no-look hook from Danny Garcia, man, that's good enough to put a blind man on his sleep. You know what I mean? The Mexican G goes, Rocha is a great boxer. I don't know how Santillan beat him.
Catch and shoot.
Santillan just bodied Rocha, man. Santillan, I was very shocked how well, here's the thing. Alexis Rocha is a very good boxer, right? He's got the great fundamentals. He's got great body punch placement. He's got a great right hook. His left, is a little. It's not like a Tank Davis left hand, but he's got a good mustard on it. But Santillan, man, he just looked big. The dude was like a fucking boulder.
Huge, bro.
Yeah, like the Thing from Fantastic Four, immovable. You know what I mean? You can't move this dude. This dude was just like Puro Cuadrado, bro. Like his shoulders were boxy, back was boxy, chin was boxy. He had no neck turtle. Like this dude just looked like you couldn't move him, and he couldn't. Alexis Rocha was throwing nothing but the kitchen sink. 4 rounds blasted, bro. Like it just lets you know. Going back to reinforce El Pachuco's point.
Yep.
Alexis Rocha, it just he looks small. He's not small, but he looks small, and it is what it is.
I mean, you saw Curiel. Curiel looked huge against him too, bro. It's like, wow, like easy 10, 15 pounds heavier.
Yeah, facts, man. It was quite shocking. Let me see. Rocha and Curiel, both great boxers. I agree. Yeah. I would love for, ¿cómo se llama ese morro? El pinche Alex Ariza to go team back up with Freddie Roach, bro. When those two were pairing, dangerous combination. Imagine Curiel having a physical trainer like a Miguel Heredia, a nutritionist and all that stuff. Bro, he would shell up. Dude, he's got good technique, height and range. Beautiful, bro. Like he would just, he would be a fucking force at 147. They both beat Boots. Stop being ridiculous now. Pachuca versus Real Madrid. Happening amazing. Pachuca versus
Pachuco, the soccer team.
No, Pachuca is the soccer team from Mexico. Real Madrid is obviously from Spain.
Yeah,
but they do that. They do that some now. Like
I know Monterrey just played America yesterday, pero I'm running a blank. Then Toluca, no? Pachuca, I've never heard of Pachuca. Rocha was schooling Curiel the first half of the fight. Yeah, I agree. I thought Rocha deserved the victory, but I'm not even mad at that draw, bro. I thought that was great. Rocha beating bigger dudes, but ironically, Santillan was smaller than him, and he got knocked out by him. Well, Santillan was shorter, but he was stocky as hell. You know what I mean? It's like a Timothy Bradley. Everybody's taller than Timothy Bradley, but the motherfucker is like a boulder, But Rocha can look good versus big boxers. Man, Boots is trash. You're a clown. He has horrible defense. Wait, no. He doesn't have horrible defense, bro. Okay? Karen Pachukin is just an amazing boxer, and he can talk and he can fight.
That's the truth.
That's just the reality. Karen is just somebody like Karen is big dude. Big, strong dude. He's got good footwork. As you saw in the first fight, he can circle around. He's got great conditioning, and he showed you the inside fighting game. Look, he was trained by Joel Diaz, right? In that fight, Joel Diaz, his connection, that pipeline connection that they have from the Ukraine or Russia training with Joel Diaz is incredible, bro. Joel Diaz is a badass fucking trainer. No bullshit attitude, dude. That dude just makes you. I don't know if it's the Desert Storm heat out there, but whatever it is, that dude can. He only makes tough, great fighters. Timothy Bradley, Butayev when he fought and said Lithuanian dude at Pelon, Stanionis, Bivol, right? Look at the way he molds Bivol, bro. To Karen Chuchukian. The dude's amazing, bro. Manny Robles, like Joe Diaz, the two most underappreciated, underrated trainers, the two best in the game. You'll never see them get awards for Trainer of the Year, all of these things. Maybe Manny Robles. I think he's won it one time. But Joel Diaz always comes up with fantastic game plans. Man, that's my favorite trainer of all time. Mexican boxing #1 goes. Watch that fight again. No, he wasn't. I had it 7-5 Gurriel versus Joe Diaz is an underrated trainer. Yeah, I agree. Yo, Drew, were you able to watch any of these fights, man? Did you see Jaime Munguia? If you haven't seen it, I'm gonna replay it right here. He fought this dude that's not a known puncher, not a known fighter, not a known anything. And check this out.
First off, how's my audio?
Fantastic now. For sure.
It's better now?
Hell yeah.
How about now? All right, cool. Wow. Yeah, no, I seen that. That. The highlights. I can actually watch the full fight, but I'm gonna watch it tomorrow just because I know I've seen a handful of Jaime Munguia fights, and I kind of know how he behaves, as a fighter and shit. He gets really excited, and I've actually seen his evolution too. He's also calmed down a lot too, because after a certain while, bro, like after couple of fights, like once you're a veteran, bro, like your coach can only teach you so much. He can only just improve what you're already good at, and so I think dudes like Jaime Munguia, he's he's a tough task for anyone. I think he would be I think he's still okay, as far as like his direction and like him becoming a world champion again. Like, I do think he could have beaten this dude, Serace, or is that how you say his name? Serace? So this dude knocked him down in the second round, I believe. And he was he was about to beat him, bro. Like, I really do think Jaime Munguia just didn't have the right game plan. I do think if Freddie Roach is in his corner, I think he'd be a little more patient. I just think he was going way too hard, man. And this isn't one of those things where Munguia is being too active, like he's been, fighting too much this year. Like, I think he's okay with that. I think he should keep fighting, just because he almost got this dude out of there, man. Like, he wasn't knocked out, like he was just off balance, had a hard time getting up.
You think it was a lucky punch?
It felt like it a little bit, but it's a fair and square. It's a fair and square stoppage because he technically he did not. He could have gotten a lenient ref and actually probably made it or not made it. I don't know if he would have made it the distance. Or who knows what would have happened after this? But I think a ref would actually, a lenient one would have actually let that keep going. But it was close. It was close, and he didn't beat the 10 count. So
that was look. They stopped the fight at the 9, and not only that, the guy counted the fastest I've ever seen for
really?
a Mexican ref.
Yeah, it was a premature stoppage.
Well, this was once I seen the highlights. I trust. Like, what can I do? Like, I'm not gonna start complaining about the count. I didn't look at that though. You might be right. So play it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's like I would have yeah, I didn't look at that. Usually I just I accept the results and I say why it happened. And yeah, maybe the ref did count a little too fast, but
let's see homie, play so we can see it all.
But Munguia shouldn't have even gotten knocked down in the first place, So it's just it shouldn't have even happened, bro. Like, that happened because of him being impatient. I think that dude had a good shell of a defense from that highlight that I seen. He had a good shell of a defense, and it was hard to break through it. And I think Jaime Munguia was trying to like really break him down like in the early rounds. You know, he should have just accepted that he had a tough guard to break and just worked around it and just kind of see and kind of checked it like in the later rounds. You know, because you got to save your energy. I think Freddie would have told him all that, man. I think Freddie would have gotten him right, and and just would have had him picking the shots a little smarter because he was being sloppy. He wasn't thinking. He wasn't thinking when he was just in the. He gets excited, and I feel like not excited, but I think he's such a workhorse. He's being told, "Don't stop, keep going." You know, all this shit like a true Mexican is supposed to do. You know, like just come forward and like and out tire like out yeah like out tire your opponent.
So you're also saying it's the incompetence of Eric Morales to understand. Look, Jaime, you got the good left hook, bro, pero
Yeah,
this is good technique. He's dangerous with the right hand. No te pendejes. You think
that's why
Frankie told him with Eric Morales wasn't?
exactly. That's why you pick your shots off smarter. Like I think Freddie Roach would actually tell him which shots to pick off, and he would have been giving him a better game plan. And yeah, man, I see what I agree. Yeah,
I also have that mindset as well. But let me guys ask you this. After 40 fights, you should know by now that this opponent is formidable. Like you should know, like, I wait, this guy hits a little harder than I expected. A trainer can't tell you that, right? Like, oh, bro, watch
yeah,
out. Like you have a feeling, you have a pocket presence, you have your own
yeah,
IQ and your experience. Now you're like, okay, this guy's got good defense. I'm not punching hard enough to penetrate his guard, and he's catching me in between. So you're gonna be a little smarter. You're gonna go to your corner. You're gonna talk to Eric Morales. It's like, hey, bro, this guy's stats are they're misleading. This fucking dude hits pretty hard, and he's got good tight defense. I have to change up the game plan. Okay. Mira,
right.
look at this. You know what I mean? So you have to have this conversation. Jaime Munguia is like he doesn't have that connection, and you don't really see a lot of boxers talk back to their trainers and give the trainers insight as well. It's just the trainers like, oh, bro, did you see he's throwing uppercuts? Like, dude, throw more. Like, even Robert Garcia, when he's working his corners, he doesn't give good advice either. He draws some good game plans in camp, but when you have
Right.
to make adjustments on the fly, he's like, vamos, way. I've seen it with Xavier Martinez. I've seen it multiple times. They don't really make a lot of great adjustments, whereas Manny Robles, Joel Diaz, they do. Even Eddie Reynoso, he doesn't make a great game plan. Like they're set in their ways, what they've been working all 4 months in camp. Sometimes
Yeah.
one game
And
plan, you gotta scratch everything and improvise on the fly.
Yeah. I agree there. I agree there. I've seen. Yep. You're right. Okay.
one of those things where like where
Whoa, take
the
it
kids
easy, guys. You're supposed to say you're wrong.
no, it's one of
Well,
those
then why does he say something wrong?
no, it's one of those things where like you're raising your kid and eventually your kid's gonna do what the hell he's gonna want to do, you
What do you
know,
mean?
and that's like eventually you're raising the kid. I mean, you're not a parent, so I think
Oh, come on, man.
well, I think Warp Speed understands like your kid's gonna do what the hell they're gonna do what the hell they want to do. Like you've raised them and you've done what you do, and eventually you can't control what they do after a certain while.
Not while they live under my roof, bro.
Okay, so but I think that's Jaime though. Like that's what I'm saying. That's what Jaime though, and I think he's eventually gonna do what the hell he wants to do. But I think if you
Yeah.
set him up, I think if you set him up and actually give him discipline like Freddie Roach does, I think Freddie Roach gives him that discipline, that mental
Yeah.
discipline. He gives them those precise directions on how to like win the round, and what you're doing good and what you're doing bad, and stop doing what certain things. I think Morales just scratches all that and kind of focuses like on the demeanor and and on the pace of fights and how to like
Hmm.
and that's kind of how he's. Actually, no, I haven't really seen too much because I see him picking off when he fought. I seen him kind of picking off his shots, but he's also willing to take one at the same time. He's never really been the super defensive type. He's always been the counter and getting really creative with this countering. That's not Jaime. Jaime's trying to set up his shots. I feel like he's built to set up his shots with his size, and then I think he's also able to cut the corners off a little better with Freddie. You know,
Yeah,
he trains
yeah, that seems suitable. I don't think Munguia is a fighter that sets up punches, but under Freddie, I could see how he is starting to set up punches.
naturally, he
Unfortunately,
naturally does it.
mhm,
He naturally does it with Freddie. You know,
yeah,
what your footwork does. It
yeah,
finds you.
yeah, yeah. And under Eric, of course, it's just forward. It's more like I don't know, just reckless abandon, right? Just throw punches, just walk forward, throw punches. But it's easy to just do that. With Freddie, you can still walk forward and throw punches, except with better footwork, except with the opportunity to set up a couple of punches here and there. And let's admit it, right? Even better defense. Dream, we had a brief discussion. Just give me a straight up and down. Which which fight was the biggest upset in boxing history, right? I mean, people say Buster Douglas. Um, we're talking about Rafael Espinosa versus Ramirez 2023, and this guy right here, Bruno Surace versus Jaime Munguia 2024. If you know anything about Bruno, you obviously already know that in his past 6 fights, he fought 5 of those fighters that had backwards or upside down records, combined win ratio of 10 wins to 135 losses or something to that effect. This is who this guy had been fighting, right? No notable names, never had done anything in the sport. I don't think there's even any kind of footage on Surace, just like there really wasn't much to go off on Espinosa once he squared off with two-time Olympian, gold Olympian at that, if I'm not mistaken, Robesi Ramirez. Which of these two underdogs or these upsets is the greatest one in modern boxing history? Espinosa or this Surace guy?
Or Andy Ruiz.
Dude, it's
Or
just
Andy Bruce?
there's so many upsets, bro. Like that one isn't even the cream of the crop. Like it's one of those. It's just one of those fights that goes down as an upset. You know, they're not close to being upsets. I'm only saying that because I mean I've learned and I've actually soaked so much information and how many upsets there were in the past and how many of them had more significance. This guy right here, Robesi Ramirez
Mhm.
and Espinoza. Uh, I think Davino Espinoza was actually a highly touted Mexican amateur. You know,
Yeah,
he's actually a really good amateur. So it wasn't,
really.
yeah, he wasn't no surprise. But I think for him to come up and go straight to a two-time Olympic gold medalist is actually surprising. So that one is more up ahead on the list for me. But I think by on paper, it's Surace over Munguia.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
just because of how low ranked Surace was and
yeah.
how much opportunity he really made, how much of it he made. But and that one it's you know that one's more of an upset to me just because it's not going to happen again. You know, I think with Espinoza, we found out who he really was, and he's an elite 126 pounder, and that's what we found out. But with Surace, I think he just took advantage of an opportunity, and hopefully he can make more of it. Hopefully he can, I mean, make more money and make a name for himself. But I think Munguia stops him. So that one is actually just more of an upset. Like I'm not even gonna say on no technicalities. Like it's just from like on paper, it's a race, and um, yeah, it's a race because we became fans of fucking Espinoza. It's a race. Still has to win me over as far as like how good he is as a fighter, you know. So he took advantage.
Because
Yeah.
did you see anything special about Brunello?
No,
I didn't see nothing. I didn't see nothing.
oh, he reminded me of Edgar Berlanga. He reminds me just of Edgar Berlanga. Like I think he's like he's Canadian, right? No, no, he's French.
He's
I think
French. He's
yeah,
French, bro.
like a French. He's like a French version of Edgar Berlanga, bro. He punches. He punches pretty good, bro. Like he's a solid puncher. It's just with those French guys. Those guys don't box; they fight. So those guys they have a different style. They don't really do play the like they don't really box. Like I've seen so many French fighters. It's like they focus on getting those rounded shoulders and they want to look big and like they watch so many Rocky movies. You can tell, but it's just
Yeah.
and that's just what it is with Race. He actually has like the basics and the fundamentals to give somebody a hard time. So I think he just caught Munguia, bro. I think Munguia would have gotten him out of there.
I
Honestly.
don't think so. That's one thing that I don't think so. I don't think I saw anything in Mungia's approach at this fight, and nor in this preparation
This
at
is the
towards this fight that made me think he was gonna take this guy out. The whole time I was like, man, this is the worst version of Mungia at this moment. Like
so this
he was so flat, so flat. His punches, his combos weren't snappy. They had no effect. They weren't cutting through the defense of the other guy. His body work, he had body work obviously because he always goes to the same combination when he sets his guys up at the rope, but they weren't just cutting through, they weren't hitting around the guard. It was just one of the worst versions of Mugia I've seen in years.
yeah, that's just the I'm just saying that off that like that's someone that is not knowledgeable of what happened in the fight specifically. Like I need to watch it again, like um or watch the whole fight. I mean, I watched the highlights. Um so yeah, dude, I need to watch it, so that's coming from somebody who didn't watch the fight. So I gotta watch it. Maybe I'll have a different opinion, but from what I've seen, if you get him that hurt in second round, how does he make it four more rounds and get you, on your ass? Like how does someone get that hurt in the second round? Like one,
Ring IQ.
I think he must have great recovery. He
Mhm.
has a good recovery.
Mhm.
I think that or Munguia is really sloppy as a fighter. Like no game plan behind what he's doing. Just kind of hoping shit goes down, you know. But he has a lot of energy, and I just feel like he's he just thought it would never happen, bro. Like he was so wide open for shots, and
Yeah.
Serace, uh, that he just needs to keep his hands up. He needs to be more disciplined, and that is what Freddie gives him. Like I think that's what he needed in that moment right there was discipline. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure Morales was giving them instruction like keep your hands up. I hope, like um so those things right there is just you get so caught up in coming forward, it's mentally fatiguing, right? You just like not even thinking, you're just on pilot mode. Like I feel like it was one of those instances with Munguia, but
Yeah.
you're
Well,
not thinking.
that sounds like a good analysis, right? Just on automatic. Just no creativity, just doing the same thing again. I chalk it up all to the fact that Munguia was just trying to please his fans, which is okay, make quick money, which is okay, but he took it like a daisical. And those two things, the pleasing his fans and trying to make money, are a very bad combination. Because all it'll do is it'll give you a false sense of belief that that you're gonna win it, that everything is in your favor, you're fighting in your backyard, that people are gonna cheer on your behalf and boo the other guy. It's all a bad setup, right? But as far as Sriracha and what he can do in the sport, listen, there's William Skull holding the 147 pound, 147 super middleweight belt, right? I don't know how, but I heard that this fight was for a championship. I don't know who vacated. I don't know if Canelo let the belt go or something like that. But that's what I heard. I don't believe so. I don't know how. Maybe it was some baby belt or whatever. But Sriracha, I cannot see him beat Edgar Berlanga. I cannot see him beat Jaime Munguia second time around. I cannot see him beat Plant, David Morrell, David Benavides. I cannot even see him beating David Pacheco. I cannot see him beating any of those guys, right? Um, so whatever he decides to do next, right? It's either Jaime Munguia or build your name and ride this opportunity, right? Negotiate hard because you're never gonna get this opportunity. Because I did not see anything special in Bruno. Um, in fact, I don't
Well,
think it was the lucky
go
punch.
ahead.
I think he really set his punch up, but we'll talk about lucky punches in a bit. I just wanted to. El Pachuco says Drew missed the Mungia fight. He was probably watching the replay of the show. Friends, man, that show Friends, when I was a kid and was coming up, I never understood what was funny about it. In fact, I missed so many episodes of Seinfeld because I didn't understand that type of comedy, right? I was like, man, these people are bothersome until I really sat down to pay attention. Then I realized, oh yeah, Seinfeld is comedy gold. And in the case of Friends, I never understood it. It was just maybe too white or something. Vince Vargas says Kid Kansas got caught by a big shot, the one that landed at the perfect time, perfect placement. Absolutely. That is a lucky punch. That is all about a puncher's chance, Vince, because Kid Kansas dominated all rounds every single second up until he squared and decided to go southpaw. And that guy threw that one punch. It was the only punch that landed. That was definitely a lucky punch. What happened this weekend, that was not a lucky punch. That was Brunello using his ring IQ and probably the savvy of his corner saying, bro, are you watching what Munguia is doing? He's leaning down, he's leaving his chin exposed and his left shoulder tucked down. Just chop him down. 11 to 6, 11 to 7. Chop him down 11 to 5 or whatever. Just throw those two right hands, go up, down, and you'll catch him. And he he did that, right? El Venado got slipped. That was not a lucky punch. Nope, nope. Angelo Leo also set that punch up right there. Angelo Leo was noticing and timing them. He was doing so much to catch El Venado Lopez right there. And yeah, absolutely. It pays dividends to do the hard grind work and the gym, and especially to listen to your corner. I guess El Pachuco is saying that Eric El Terrible Morales, El Terrible Morales isn't really good at giving corner advice. Okay, maybe I believe that because I didn't see Munguia switch it up or do anything new. I didn't see anything. In fact, I kept seeing Brunello win every punch that he landed. He was working hard to get it. So no luck there. Pachuco says, in my humble opinion, Freddie Roach and Robert Garcia are the two best trainers in boxing. I wouldn't dispute that. That sounds good. Chop Chop is one of Robert Garcia's best fighters. And in fact, have you seen Chop Chop fight? Uh, Dream.
Yeah, I've seen him fight. I like him.
He, he's great.
Yeah.
His catch and shoot. Wow.
Oh yeah,
He
he's
does.
really yeah.
Yeah.
He's really aggressive. He's really snappy.
Hmm.
I like his aggression, bro, more than anything. He's like, and his I've I watched a lot of Ellie setback videos and just getting his like just listen to him talk and stuff like his demeanor. Like he does seem like like it's one that's like if you're gonna hit me, I'm gonna try to hit you harder and more. Like that's his mentality. And I feel like he's a smart fighter. Yeah, no, I think this kid he grew up like in LA, kind of like in a tough area, Culver City or something like that.
Over steady.
Yeah, and it's like a tough area, bro. So it's and I passed by there like working and stuff like that. It seems pretty rough out there, bros. So it's just yeah, it's fighters like that, bro. That's the type of fighter that Robert Garcia got. And he's getting solid work in that gym, bro. You already know he is in that
Hmm.
in that So I've seen him fight twice, in some undercards, and he both knockouts, bro. So he's a tough fighter, bro. It's just he gets tagged a lot. I mean, a smarter fighter can beat him, but he's also dangerous.
Yeah.
Just because he's he's a strong fighter, bro. Like he's pretty ripped up, and he's not skinny, bro. Like he's got muscle on him. So this
Yep.
kid,
That's
he's
chop chop.
yeah, he can pop, bro. He can pop.
Hmm.
I like him. I like him. Why you mention him?
Well, because he was, they were talking about who the better trainer is. Who's a good trainer out there, and he's fighting under Robert Garcia. That's just evidence that Robert can build fighters that are very capable, and he takes on a lot of fighters with different styles, different physical dimensions, but he's always able to make them very capable aggressors, right? That
Hmm.
are defensively responsible, but very, very concussive in their power, right? So yeah, Robert Garcia is a great trainer, in my opinion. It really, really is. Um, like El Pachuco says, one of the best. In fact, El Pachuco goes on and says that, to be fair to Munguia, right, it was his fourth fight this year. And no, you are right. ESPN was mentioning how it was his fourth fight this year. His busy schedule. Yeah, well, I mean, listen,
Dude,
Pachuco,
if
that's
you're
the way you're supposed to do it, right? Dream.
yeah, if you're fighting that much 4 times,
Hmm.
imagine how weight cut is. It's probably like there probably is no weight cut. He's probably
Yeah,
just entering training camp to physically train his body to see how he feels, and then he finds out whether or not he's how many pounds away he is. Like if you're fighting that much, it's so easy to like make weight,
yeah,
because you're living that life uh easily. Like it's hard to be about that life when you're not having no fights set up, no training camps are set up, because training camp means you're doing double days. Training camp means you're at least doing as much of a double, if even if you have a job, you're doing as much as what you should be doing on a like double days, you know so um yeah, training camp, more training camps, and if you're going through 3 training camps, 4 training camps in 1 year, bro, I doubt you're going through training camps. You're just fucking the whole year's a training camp, you know. So yeah, and that I don't know. This is a thing too. Um, how's sparring for Munguia? Is he going hard? Is he, you know, just taking it lightly? Like, I wonder what's his game plan. Just because once you're this active, it does get dangerous. Just because you're the most of the damage happens in sparring. Most of the damage happens in sparring, especially if you know, if you're trying to like move up in weight, or if you're, like fighting like tougher guys. You're really trying to test yourself. Like, Jaime Munguia probably goes through a lot of, strenuous like training camps, bro. So I wonder how much that's 44 fights that you got, man. So yeah, you just wonder, Jaime's a young dude though. Jaime's still young, so I'm trying to see how old he is right here. He
I think he's
is
28.
Yeah, he is 28, bro. So no, his back is not giving out yet. He should still have more in the tank. I think but your back start hurting like around 33, 34. No, I'm just kidding, but everyone's different, so
I guess
you're
you're
right.
33. Oh
No,
my
I'm
God.
30.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Well, you know what? You said something very telling, something very key. You said, "What was? How was his sparring? How was his training?" Well, and you brought up weight. Is he trying to go up in weight? Is he trying to test himself? Funny enough, now that you mention it, Brunello Surace was a middleweight. They brought this guy up. Listen how bad this whole thing is, right? This guy who has a 15% knockout ratio, who has in his past six
How many?
fights, uh, 15% knockout ratio. Of his 25
Five.
or so fights, he only has four
Five
knockouts.
knockouts.
Oh, five. Well, yeah, five knockouts. Yeah, yeah.
Damn.
Thank you for correcting me. One of the best chins in the world. He knocks that guy out, right? So he has, I guess, maybe now he has a 20% knockout ratio, right? So this guy from France, which is not a big country known for its boxing, um, with a 15% knockout ratio, fighting guys with records like 11 wins, 35 losses, right? This guy who he flew across the country, not even across the country, he flew over the oceans, across a whole continent, brought him to his hometown and foreign lands with the fans cheering against him. Munguia flew this guy over here, right? And he still brought him up in weight from 160 to 168. Right? This is the very first fight that Bruno ever had at super middleweight. He
Damn, that's
had he had, listen, Dream, he had 3 months to train for this guy. You think Bruno wasn't taking himself serious? Look, any worse than that, it would have been like Munguia called this guy up in 3 weeks' notice and said, "Hey, bro, I got 3 weeks for you. Want this fight? Yes or no?" But he actually gave him 3 months to acclimate himself to a new weight division. And Jaime Munguia, like El Pachuco is reminding us, he stayed in the gym. Well, we think he stayed in the gym because he fought 4 times this year, right? But there's no reason to believe that Munguia did not think he was just gonna walk in there and motion in into a win. There was no reason why Jaime Munguia had to have considered this guy a viable threat at all. He was supposed to just go over there, get in a couple of rounds, entertain his people, walk out with maybe $500,000 in his back pocket, and throw a big old party in Tijuana. Eat some street tacos and some that crazy old corn that everybody's into with the mayo and the hot sauce and the cheese, Mexican corn or whatever the heck you call it, right? That was what Jaime Munguia was supposed to do, according to him. In the case of Bruno, he said, "Man, I got 3 months to change my life." Think about it. The complacent, fat individual will sit in his couch feeling comfortable by those surrounding him that love him, while the other person is starving, working hard to survive. If you think of it like that, Bruno was going to come here to win from day one. Munguia was just going to walk in there and hope things fell in his lap. It was incredible. Elote, elote, that's right, elote. Elote, Mexican elote. Francis is a terrible show. South Park is a show worth watching. I don't have programming, but I remember that South Park is an incredible show. Oh, Chop Chopping from South Central LA. Today was a good day. Dream, the, can before
That is
we,
South Central.
yeah, yeah,
Culver City. I think
Culver
I might be
City.
wrong. Yeah.
Okay, Dream. Look, I'm not too sure if you and homie Ricky in the last live, because I wasn't available for it like a week or so, when you guys after that fight with Robisi Ramirez and
Mm.
Oscar. Okay, did you guys talk about the quitting of Robisi Ramirez?
Oh yeah, no, dude. You're asking me if I
Robisi
heard
Ramirez
about it?
quit. No, did
Yeah, no, I
Robisi
heard about
Ramirez
it. Yeah,
quit?
yeah, I heard about it. Did you guys talk about it earlier?
No,
No. Okay. Yeah.
no.
So
I,
you
I
think?
want to ask you, and I want to ask everybody here in the chat: did Robisi Ramirez quit? 2, did he do the right thing? 3, will you forgive him?
Um, what was the first one? I heard the last two.
Okay, did Robesi Ramirez quit at the
Okay,
start
that.
of the sixth round? And second, did he do the right thing? And third, as a boxing fan, will you forgive him?
Look, man, I don't know. It's just I see a lot of fans say that he was actually getting elbowed a lot. And I look back on the highlights, and that happens a lot. That happens a lot in boxing. But then I see more videos and they say like, yes, but it's unique because of his height, you know, uh, and because of their sharp elbows. And then they started to point to or maybe I did. I think I immediately thought of this fight right here. Fondura versus Tim Zoo. What happened in that fight? What happened? What happened? Is because someone's elbow got scraped on their forehead and they got that big ass gash, you know? So Tim Zoo decided not to make any fucking excuse about it. And I agree with the Mexican G. No excuse. I didn't see no elbows. And I seen elbows, but it didn't seem like disturbing or like it should have stopped him from like doing anything, like it just felt like it was irritating him, and maybe he felt like he was outmatched, and he was like just frustrated, and just his mind was just not in it. um Not unless you're gonna get knocked out. I mean, like he was saying he was unable to see and all that, but he was perfectly fine. His eyes were there. I think he was I think mentally, if you ever stop like that in any sport, bro, and not trying to switch gears, but just really quick, what happened this past weekend on Thursday night, there was a football game, an NFL football game with the Niners and the Rams. A dude just walked out the field and quit, bro. And they suspended him, and and they're like, a dude literally said, I don't want to play anymore. I'm done playing today. And he expected
Wow.
to come back, the next day. And they said, nah, you can't do that. You can't even sign with another team, because technically if he gets cut, he can quote unquote get rewarded for his actions. But they stopped that from happening. They said, nah, you're suspended. You can't even get paid anymore. So stuff like that,
Wow.
I know it's a team sport and that's a little different, but as a player, you're pissed at him, and as a fan, you're pissed at him. But then there's a certain extent. It's not like you can't make him play, and and at the end of the day, that's somebody who didn't even want to be there, So why would I even want him near me, you know? So I think with Espinoza, to go back to Espinoza, I think if you're gonna quit like that, then you weren't even meant to be at that top stage. You can only handle 3 rounds, you know, a day. You know, After that, you're not meant to be a pro. You're meant to be an amateur. You know, so maybe it's the same thing. It's like maybe you were never meant to be that guy. There's a reason why you lost to this guy, and maybe one more chance, and it's like, dude, like I think it doesn't even matter how good Espinoza is anymore. It's it's the fact that you don't want to be in this, you know that you're not showing commitment anymore. In the ring, yeah, you're putting in the work, but it's like you're putting in the work for a check, or you're putting in the work to build on your future. You know, like you're just focusing on the check and not how to. Like I'm pretty sure he has enough IQ to to think to himself how he's gonna win the fight. But I think he's so used to winning that he just got frustrated, man. He's like, man, fuck this, man. I'm like, I'm good. Sorry for
Okay.
my language, but
Yeah, no, you're okay. You're okay. I understand. It's okay. Look, you know me, right? I respect
because
these
it's
fights.
dangerous. Sorry, it's dangerous. One more thing, it's dangerous to fight when your heart's not in it. That's when it starts to get dangerous
Mhm. Yeah,
for your
yeah.
body. Yeah.
Look, I always I always look for a reason to respect fighters. I always look for reasons to not abandon that respect that I have for these men and women that decide to bleed and make others bleed and slowly die in the ring for entertainment, right? So I'm not trying to say that I'm above calling a fighter a quitter, because if quitting takes place, let's just call it what it is, right? Forfeit of one's duties, quitting, you know, relinquishing, surrendering, whatever you want to call it, right? It's the same thing. Somebody decides to no longer continue that task that they had themselves set out to do, right? Now, a lot of us quit in our everyday lives on a lot of different things, right? We're all going to start doing push-ups, and then all of a sudden, oh, I got tired or I got busy or whatever. We just didn't do our push-ups, right? We quit on a daily basis. But when a fighter decides to quit because they're physically harmed and hurt and suffering, we expect them to continue fighting through that pain, as if we expect ourselves to be able to do that, as if we expect to live the masochistic life. Now, of course, we say, well, that's their job, right? If you don't want to suffer, if you don't want to expose yourself to pain, don't endeavor into fighting and this sport of boxing, this violent, bloody waltz,
My bad.
right?
One, yeah, and what I heard this football coach say right now, just literally right now, he says this position is all about you, and he's talking about the running back position. I'm sorry to go back to football, but he said to it's your ability to continue to play in pain, and that is what makes a great running back. And I feel like with boxing, it's your ability, depending on the style of the fight. But I feel like if you can take Tank's power and you can manage to go through that type of pain, and your body's actually your body's able to withstand that punishment and is actually able to, you know, keep keep maintain like your level of focus, because sometimes you just go to sleep and there ain't nothing you can do about it. That's when it gets dangerous. But you also want to be able to know yourself. you
Yeah.
know
But the thing is about, look, although football, uh, and we're talking about American football, not football. American football and boxing are very similar, obviously, and even the way that these coaches expect their players and fighters to go at it 100%. The fact of the matter is, there is great distinction between boxing and football. In boxing, you can actually go on and and maybe have a very short career. In fact, you can fight one fight and then that'll retire you. In football, it's people can go on and live, fighting, playing in the sport for a decade. So both of them are very short-lived careers. I understand that, but one of them can, well, I guess both of them can kill you in one hit, right? So let me
yeah,
take that back. Yeah, let
yeah.
me take that back.
But what I realize is that these guys that get signed by Top Rank, and all these other, like the big promotional companies, like they've been putting in work. They're not just coming out of nowhere, you know. So it's like that with football. They've been putting in that work. Just and they got to do is see what school you went to, and they'd be like, wow, like it takes a lot to go to that school. You're good,
Yeah.
So it's like that, there's a certain amount of work that you have to put in when you reach that level, and it's just repetitive.
Yes.
I'm
So
not trying to say like that.
I,
It's
I
because
I
I'm
just want
watching.
to make it about. Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. You're
It's because
making
I'm
very
watching
good
a.
points.
It's because I'm watching a football. I'm gonna turn this off, but it's because I'm watching a John Gruden podcast right now, and it's like giving me good points. But I'm watching it while I'm listening to you and
Yeah, that's
shit.
good that
So
you're multitasking, that you're able to do that. That's just an indication of how young you are. I can't multitask for nothing. I'm right here looking at a black turned off screen because I can't watch TV and talk on the YouTube channel. I can't do that. I'm an old man, right? So I have to focus on this, right? So before I lose my train of thought, addressing the Robesi Ramirez quote unquote quit? I'm asking you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm asking Mr. Vince Vargas El Pachuco, the Mexican G, Mexican boxing number one. Did Ramirez quit? And of course, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the Mexican G said he definitely quit. Right
Yeah, he quit.
now, and now, okay, it seems like there's a consensus. Yep, he quit. The second thing is, did he do the right thing? Right? In light of what we know now, right? The allegations that he made after the fight in his corner with Ismail Salas were saying that he was elbowing, and he was. He never really got clipped with the elbow necessarily. He may have gotten slightly grazed with the forearm, but the bad technique or intentional throwing of the punches at that weird angle from Espinosa El Divino, Rafael El Divino Espinosa, did leave the impression that Espinosa can be a dirty fighter. He can be an opportunistic individual that can try to fight dirty in order to get the win. And in Robeisio Ramirez, we saw a fighter and a cornerman that were standing up for the rights to have a fair fight. I don't have any issues with Robeisio Ramirez telling the ref, hey, elbow right there. And in fact, without even having been told, the ref called him out in the very first seemingly intentional elbow thrown from Espinosa. And he said, hey, you're throwing that elbow. Careful with how you throw punches, right? Now, do I believe that that led to the what we know now to be an orbital fracture? I don't know. But something caved in the eye sockets of Robeisio Ramirez, right? Robeisio Ramirez had a broken eye socket. If you guys believe in what he's saying, I have no reason to doubt him. And when that awkward landed punch pulled his eyelid and probably grazed the cornea of his eyeball, that must have been too much to handle, too much pain, and he decided to quit. Now, he quit, right? He surrendered, whatever. The question now comes to you, if you want to accept it or not, and answering, will you give Robeisio Ramirez a chance? Can you forgive him as a man that you guys are entertaining and paying him big money to watch and sacrifice his mind and limb? Do you guys forgive Robeisio Ramirez for having quit when he may have been on top of a fight?
Yeah, no, I think he was. I think it's not really like a matter of me forgiving them or not. Like I really uh like like I don't know, like the emotion that comes with it, right? Like I can't really make you can't make somebody fight. It's just get out of my way, like get out of the way. Go fight the contenders, So I'll watch you, but it's like because you're on the same card as a main card that I want to see. That's it. I don't like that means that just means um you weren't you didn't have the mindset to become a champion because you were gonna have to go through that line of fire. There's a certain like line of fire that you go through to become that champion, and he's done it once, right? Or was that for a vacant belt when he fought Espinoza the first time? That was the
No, I think,
defense.
yeah, it was a
Okay,
defense.
yeah. So he went through that line of fire once, but I mean, shit. Who do you beat for that belt?
I don't
Ro-
remember.
Robeisy,
Never.
and then I'm trying to check right now. Sorry, but yeah. So it just depends who we really beat. But yeah, dude, I think they really just wanted to give him that belt. They got him an opportunity like that, and I feel like when you're a two-time gold medalist, you get sped up, and he definitely has the fundamentals to you know, beat top guys. Okay, so this is the thing, right? You beat somebody like Isaac Dogbe, right? Dogbe's no slouch, man. Dog Bay's no slouch. So he does belong at that level. It's just Espinoza. Espinoza is stylistically is his nightmare. I think Rafael Espinoza is unique just because he can reach you from a distance. He's the Fondora of the division,
Yeah.
So he's tall, lengthy. If you don't have enough power, he's not going to respect you, and he's going to be in front of your face. So I think Espinoza versus a Nick Ball fight would be entertaining, but it's just with back to Ramirez, bro. Like I just don't think um there's that line of fire you have to go through, and if you're not willing to go through that line of fire, then you're not meant to become a world champion. But as far as giving them another chance, I'll give him another chance just because not against Rafael Espinoza. He needs to really like make some noise again to like get a trilogy. Especially you're 0-2 on him, man. Like you gotta make a lot of noise. You gotta start getting knockouts, or or start fighting his common opponents or something. But um, yeah, I think you just gotta start, rebuilding. It's not over for Ramirez, man. It's not over. It's just
Yeah, I think that's fair.
we,
I think you're being fair. I think you're definitely
we
being
just
fair.
found
You're
out who
saying
Rafael.
you're giving him an opportunity to redeem himself. Maybe not with the same guy. You're saying, hey, we just want, as boxing fans, we want to know who belongs at the top, and you just showed us that you're unwilling to go all the way to be at the top, and that's what we sort of want, right? We want to be able to weed out the undeserving to only get the cream of the crop at the top. And now we had an opportunity, whether for fair or not, we got to see a fighter quit when when the line of fire became too much for him to handle, and he quit, and that's okay, right? Because if he did break his orbital, he gets to fight another day. But at the same time, we also want him to quit so he doesn't have to rob us of more of our time to go through the ups and downs of having to see if he can come out on top and get the judges or have a fight forfeited because of an elbow. We got to see that he quit. That leaves room for the next fighter to take his place. There's a vacancy there. Ramirez gets to move on. We don't have to see a trilogy, which is great in my opinion. But this is where I want to end it with, right? Robesi Ramirez quit. Plain as day. As El Pachuco says, Espinosa beat the fight out of Ramirez. Espinosa did not fight dirty. He was fighting off a fighter that was using the hug and run strategy. Espinosa leaves his chin up in the air too much. A little bit of head movement off the center line would make him unstoppable. And all of these things Ramirez had to overcome, and he wasn't able to chin check the chin up fighter and El Divino Espinosa. But when he quit, one of the things, it was the irony, right? The dichotomy, obviously, of the cultures, the Cubans and the Mexicans. This is the reason why Dana White admires Mexican fighters. He says one of the greatest things that you can tell a fighter is that they fight like a Mexican, right? The reason he says that is because Mexicans never quit. Mexicans gave it 100%. Mexicans will die in the ring where other people don't take those same risks. It's all culture. And we've seen fighters that won't give it 100%. We see fighters from Cuba that are complacent with just jabbing themselves out there, making it a boring fight without entertaining the fan base just to keep a belt, hug, and jab. And I'm not trying to be, completely offensive and disrespectful with the Cuban fighter. I'm just trying to point out the differences about why somebody like Israel Magnifico Vasquez, how he almost died in the ring. He did, in fact, lose his eyeball because he continued to fight through the pain, the broken bones, the chafing of the cornea so many times against his nemesis, Rafael Marquez, to the point that he went blind. and they had to spoon his eyeball off of his eye socket,
Mm.
right? The same week that that man lost his life and lost his eye, famously known for losing his eye because he never quit, this guy, Robesi Ramirez, decides to quit because his eye hurt. Now, when you compare them, you just have to say, man, the courage, the valor, the resistance of the Mexican to continue fighting through all of that, and the cowardice, the quit, the reluctance of the Cuban fighter to experience even one more round of the same thing that blinded and eventually slowly killed another man, right? But a lot of people started to say that Robesi Ramirez's career was over. I famously said that he was going to be, and I regret this, I famously said that he was going to be a preliminary fighter, that he was going to fight in the prelims. I don't know if
Who?
that'll, Ramirez.
Oh. Mm.
Now, I don't think that'll be the case. I'm sure that he has enough skill to climb up. I hope to see him redeem himself one day. But it does look very bad on Ramirez to have quit the same week that the fighter who lost his eye died in, right? Just 3, 4 days prior. But before we start chastising and castigating Ramirez for having quit, I just want to read one thing to you, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can give the credit to Robesi for having stood there against a tall order and a fighter like Elvino Espinosa. Once asked of of Magnifico Vasquez, they asked him when it was determined that he was going to be losing his eye. Right, Vasquez is set to lose his eye. Salvador Rodriguez, columnist for ESPN Deportes back in 2016, he reported that Israel Vasquez El Magnifico was about to get a prosthetic eye for the one that they had pulled out of his eye socket. And he asked him, he asked him, do you have any sense of regret or remorse? And Vasquez said, I don't regret anything. If I am reborn, I would be a boxer again. This sport has given me a lot. A lot of people take the time to talk to me and ask about my health and wish me well. If I had just been an ordinary person, maybe it wouldn't have mattered to them. I have no regrets. For me, what happened was all an accident. Life has treated me well. And he ends it with this. Now that he made a decision to go with the operation and get his eye socket pulled out, Vasquez calls on boxers. Listen to this. This is the most important thing that Israel Vasquez could left the sport of boxing after having sacrificed so much. He said this. Boxers call no Vasquez calls on boxers to take care of themselves as much as possible. Quote, you feel like a superhero, but I would ask everyone who has fought in some tremendous bouts not to risk so much, to take precautions. I know that when you're fighting, you don't think about this, but maybe when you feel pain, discomfort, a headache, a toothache, something, go and see the doctor because prevention is always better. Hopefully, my case will serve as an example for many others. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that Israel Magnifico Vasquez, from the heavens above, he would be looking down at Robesi Ramirez and he would not be so critical. He would look at him in approval and said, you know what? Tonight wasn't your night. There is a better man than you. And it's okay. You will get to live and fight another day, unlike me. You will get to see your family and friends. You will have your eye, unlike me. And yes, yes, you may not be hailed as a hero. You may not be picked up in the air. You may not make Calistoga, New York Hall of Fame, but it's okay. You did your best. And that's all that we are here to do, our best in this life. Israel Vasquez's level of greatness and degree at doing the best in the sport of boxing was a million times greater than Robesi Ramirez. But I assure you, Israel Vasquez, looking down on us from high, he would say, it's okay. Ladies and gentlemen,
Okay, take it easy.
yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very tough and rugged sport. Right. If anything, let's just bring it back full circle and remind you why this show was created in the first place. We are here as former fighters, people invested in the sport through family and friends. We are here to elevate the sport and elevate our fighters, in fact. Make it fun, but never forget this is the most violent activity that a man could subject himself and his foe to without suffering criminal repercussions and without necessarily ever getting the praise for the valor and courage that they display on an everyday basis. We have to find ways to respect our fighters. We have to stop calling these fighters tomato cans, bums, palookas, and we have to find ways to see these guys as heroes. Heroes that we can look up to, heroes that can inspire us to be better individuals. If Israel Vasquez and Robesi Ramirez can teach us one thing, is that we will have another opportunity, another day, and it's okay if we don't win one day. Like Sisyphus, the rock rolls down the hill and he has to roll it up again. We have to do it again, again and again. Like Steely Dan said, right? Dream, it's been fun, man. This whole weekend of MMA and boxing was so overwhelming to me. I can't believe for
MMA.
what you didn't see Kobe Covington get completely destroyed, probably retired. Like this kid, right? Maybe 29 years of age. His name
What's his
is
name? Lord Farquaad? The fuck?
no Joaquin. Joaquin.
Oh,
He
they
has a
got some weird
Mexican.
names, man.
No, Joaquin is not a Joaquin is a very Mexican name, bro. I think there's a San Joaquin in California. I think there's a little town over there in Texas named maybe even San Joaquin, right? Joaquin is a very typical Mexican name, but this is not a Mexican guy. This is a black fighter, and Joaquin Buckley. He's
I
a
heard of him.
welterweight.
I heard
Okay,
of him.
Buckley
He has
retired. Hmm.
go, go ahead.
No, go for it. He's the who now?
He got this spinning back kick highlight, and like it's crazy. It's like the first one of its kind, but uh like I've seen him spar it, dude. Like, go ahead. I don't want to talk bad about these guys. Go ahead.
Oh, so Joaquin Buckley likely retired Kobe Covington. And if you know Kobe Covington is that guy that's famous for being a Trumpster, right? He walks out there with Hulk Hogan and American flag, Old Glory, waving high in the place, and he completely went over there and destroyed this guy. It was crazy, and it was a very it was a very bloody fight. But the one thing that stood out about that fight, right, is that he suffered a small cut over his right eyelid, and it was just gushing blood. It wouldn't stop, right? And they ended up stopping the fight in the third round. You know who suffered a bigger cut than that one and continued to fight through it? Miss Amanda Serrano. Colby Covington, he got his fight stopped in 3 rounds, bro. Miss Amanda Serrano went 10 with what, 70 headbutts. I'm telling you, man, it's it was overwhelming trying to process all of these things. So you should watch that fight. I uploaded 3 parts of well, I uploaded some Screaming Madman reaction videos on that fight. It's very gushy, very bloody. I think the Madman's work was pretty fun in there. But if you have time, watch it because YouTube was allowing me to get views. Right? I think one of the videos got 3,000, the next one got 2,000, and then the last part, the conclusion, literally. I don't know what the video said or something, but YouTube disallowed it from growing. I think the last time I checked, after 2 days, it only has 25 views. You tell me that. How does that happen, bro? It doesn't happen. It's intentional. Something in that video that was shown or stated offended YouTube and probably got it struck down or whatever. But
Yeah,
it was just fun.
fuck. Was
Órale,
it?
Pachuco. Te me cuidas, amigo. I know it's late in the night. Have a wonderful morning. I know you're in Texas. It's probably already closer to 1 in the morning over there. Have yourself a wonderful night. We'll do it sometime soon again. What were you going to say, buddy?
Um, nah, nothing at all. But yeah, man, it's been a good talk, man. I feel like
I agree.
I'm missing a couple things, but it is late, and I just found out about this. But yeah, man. No. Oh yeah, this weekend is the Tyson Fury fight, so maybe we can go live for that. I just don't want to open that can of worms right now. But yeah, man. Maybe next. We'll see what's up. We'll let Rick know. You know, there is a big fight this week. I feel like it's the obviously the last remaining fight, but really the biggest fight since what's the last fight that actually happened that was big? Hmm. I feel like
We,
I've met,
we've had very huge fights this year. That's
but big though, not just like yeah, just the big fights. You know, like which one was that? I feel like
well,
one
Amanda
happened.
Serrano
Oh,
and
that's
Katie
right.
Taylor was huge.
Yeah, that one right there. That one was huge, and I like how you didn't mention the main event. I like how you just
Jake
like,
Paul and Mike.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on now, bro. That's
No, I know. No, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Like I like how you didn't even bother. But yeah, no, I forgot about that. And that happened last month, I believe. So
that was huge though. That really
it
was a
was.
huge fight too.
Yeah, it was a big fight. So I hope yeah, I hope we get more fights, man. I'm hearing a bunch of rumors and stuff like that. So about certain fights happening and all that. And you know, it's a dying sport. I feel like now that I look at it, I'm like, damn, man. Like we can't all like everyone can't be stubborn. Like fuck, man. Like I just don't like the direction of certain fighters and you know, eventually all the stubbornness it's got to give. You know, somebody's got to fight somebody. But that's not the case in the old in the heavyweights and in the you know in the heavier weights. You know, they're just like, hey, fuck it. We're really like the only guys that are walking around at this size and this good at boxing. Let's just fucking get this money, you know. And yeah, and I just feel like with the smaller guys, they're more influenced by the media or by the my bad by the influencer boxers, the misfit boxers, you know, because they're around their size and they bring in more tickets, you know, so the smaller boxers uh get, you know, they probably feel some kind of jealousy, you know, they're just like, man, this guy's getting paid. Like, so that's kind of where I'm like, they gotta ban these guys. They gotta ban all these misfit fighters and just stop them from making money. I think once TikTok, um, once they remove TikTok, you can say bye to all of them, bro. So I'm so happy. All right, man. I'll let you go then.
Alrighty. Yeah, well, I completely disagree with that. I completely disagree with trying to get rid of the
Yeah, man, we
misfit.
gotta go though, man. All right.
Oh, you
No,
go, you go.
no, just kidding.
I got 3 more minutes or so.
All right.
I completely disagree with that argument right there. That the smaller weight classes are. I think it probably means some middle classes, 135, 140, 147. For the most part, maybe even 126, 130. But anything lower than 126, it's all fights from fighters willing to make them. And misfits is a whole different thing, guys. Come on. Misfits is one of the funnest things that you can do with your family. If your family doesn't care about boxing, they'll care about KSI. They'll care about Slim. They'll care about Cray Cray, young Cray Cray, little Cray Cray. They will love that stuff. It's a good family activity to get your kids learning the sport, maybe learn to appreciate the real boxing. But these guys are still fun, so don't let anybody naysay things about the sport. If you want to enjoy yourself with the family, give the misfits a try. For the most part, a lot of their events are free. They don't come at a premium, and since they're all fun, it's always worth it. You'll see people do some of the sloppiest boxing you've ever seen, but they throw punches and they get knocked out, and they're so hilarious. You won't be disappointed. But anyways, oh man, here's the Mexican cheese saying Misfits is some clown stuff. Look, it's funny and clownish in the beginning, and then later on you see that they're getting better. They're getting better, right? But yeah, the Mexican G for the homie Ricky and Dream and myself, Warp Speed, your interlocutor for the night. I would like to wish you, El Pachuco, Mexican boxing number one, Mr. Vince Vargas, and anybody else that's going to be listening to this broadcast and the replay. We appreciate every single one of you. We don't need you to appreciate us back, but we do hope that you appreciate this beloved sport of ours and its fighters. We're here to entertain, to educate, but mostly we're trying to make these men and women heroes. Because if we elevate them to the level of being heroic, knowing that both you and I could walk into the gym and start training to do the same thing, maybe you and I can also become heroes. Mr. Vince Vargas, I wish you a wonderful night. Everybody here, que tengan bonita vida y buena salud. Adiós.